We going. Go, go, go. We're here. We are here. I am here. I feel like the show doesn't really start till that part comes on. Okay, now we're here. Now I'm here. I don't know where anybody else is, but I am here. So someone, it's open panel. Come on, talk about whatever. I just checked the news. Not much is going. Not much caught my eye. The U.S. is building a port in Gaza, a temporary port or something. Sweden just joined NATO, so stuff like that. But that's all I saw. Nothing on Twitter because I haven't really been on Twitter since last time. So let me check YouTube. Or if, there was a topic. Okay, shit, from yesterday. What was it? Something about religion, God. Anyway, I said that would be a good topic for today, but I don't remember what it was. And then I think there was a topic from the actual stream yesterday that we also talked about picking up today, or maybe that was from the day before. Again, don't remember either of them because I hear so many topics on here all day long, sometimes from just one, two people. All right, nothing on the YouTube either. So that means y'all are stuck with me unless something happens to change that, like a co-host showing up or somebody in the comments doing a topic. We could even have an AI conversation. We could talk to any fictional or historical character, celebrity, personage. We've done conversations with Socrates, Nietzsche, Jung, Freud, Satan, Jesus. We had AI Jesus, etc., etc. So that's always an option too. And then I had a topic or two from a while back for days like this that I can maybe trot out. I'm real big on epistemology, and it was the Bacon idols, the Francis Bacon and the 4 idols. It's like the 4 biases that can enter into our account of reality, or our description, our attempts to communicate that reality to others. So I was going to maybe go over the 4 idols, he calls them. But I'm going to ask the AI for a brief summary. I know it's the the idols of the tribe, the idols of the cave, the idols of the marketplace, and the idols of the theater. All right, let's see how the AI packages it up for us. Oh, how stupid, how dumb. I know this, Google. Sir Francis Bacon didn't idolize anything in the traditional sense. We know that. There was no reason to even put that in there. Hey, Chris, I'm going over the 4 idols. The Bacon idols. The idols of the tribe are the things. I talk a lot about how we see things from a human point of view, because we're humans and we have a human brain, etc. That's idols of the tribe. There's limitations to how we're able to perceive and what we're able to perceive of reality that come with being human. And so those limitations are the idols of the tribe. And it's just being aware of them, being aware of the limitations that each one of these idols bring. Idols of the cave are the individual biases. Each one of us have individual biases that subjectively that come from our own very unique personal history and set of experiences. So each person has their own biases unique to them. Hey, Steve, what is up? The idols in the marketplace is the it comes from language and communication. Like Lib and I run into that a lot, where we're using words in completely different ways. Because we share a language, different misunderstandings and biases can come from the way that language is used. And then the idols of the theater are like the religious, philosophical, and ideological systems that we absorb and incorporate into our sense of reality. And those can bias us against truth as well. So anyway, welcome, Steve. Welcome, Chris. What is up?
Not much. Just bored on a fucking Thursday.
Oh, nothing's going on there?
Nah, man, I've been playing video games all fucking morning. I've been a complete total scum.
Oh, what are you playing?
Red Dead Redemption. I got back into it.
Oh, isn't that what Frank's? Is that Ghost Redemption? Ghost?
No. That's Ghost Recon. No, Red Dead Redemption is like an old cowboy era show or game. Sorry.
Chris, if you're trying to talk, I don't know if we can hear you. Well, Lauren likes it.
What's up?
Hey, Lauren.
Testing. Okay, now can you hear me? We got it
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Oh, good. Cool. Thank you. I don't know why that wasn't working until I plugged it in because it's fully charged, but it will. Oh, hey. But that was a really interesting, intro there. I was trying to I had to reboot this stupid computer before I could get logged in. I didn't know it was gonna be messed up like that, so that's why I was late. But anyway, yeah.
Well, that's why I use Chromebook. They're reliable as hell when it comes to streaming.
Chromebooks are very good. I've had a few of them in the past, but yeah, I'm using this old ass Mac right now, and it's really it should be a beast. It's just like the technology and websites and everything have come so far that they just require so much more. Even though supposedly most the processing is done off of your computer, it still doesn't matter. So it's got 32 gigs of DDR3 in it. It's got a Core i7 that runs at 3 gigahertz. 3 gigahertz. I mean, it should be a fast as fuck computer, and it still runs like a fucking a mentally handicapped person and running in the regular Olympics. I got this shirt for $2 last night at a thrift store. It's a penguin shirt.
Does it button all the way, or is it
Yeah, it buttons all the way. Because
that's just the chesty.
Just chesties, yeah.
It looks good with it for chesty.
It's got little airplanes all over it. It's little airplanes.
The Royal
it's got airplanes because I'm going places, baby. Okay.
Yeah, I might be going places too. Not places I'm trying to go.
Yeah, me too. It's like I'm going to Texarkana. That's where I'm going. It's like I'm going places like Texarkana. Yeah. Oh yeah, fuck yeah, baby.
A Carnival Cruise employee that was hiding under people's beds. No, I did not hear about that.
Oh my god, no, I did not hear about that. And hello, Lauren. You're new. I don't think I've seen you before, but that is a fascinating story you're telling. Please come and tell us more about that.
Is it at night while they slept, or how did they?
Were just hiding under people's beds? They have beds that are even tall enough for people to hide underneath. I don't even know
that iPhi when you were talking that ignorance about autistic kids and being genetic or able to you're able to cure autism or prevent it somehow. I know what you're talking about. Okay, carry on. Sorry. An ABC story. Oh, yeah, that explains it. I don't really watch those.
That's terrifying, though. I mean, already being on a cruise is terrifying originally. Like, those places are just like
I've
are
never
just
been on one because my friend went on one and said how horrible. He said it was so boring.
yeah.
It's like being trapped in a hotel for like a week and not being able to leave.
And yet getting seasick is what I've heard too. I've never been on one either, but like I've just heard that they're just like they're petri dishes for disease, and like you get like you're just guaranteed to catch whatever. If somebody comes on board with like some kind of like stomach virus or something, you're definitely gonna get it.
Oh
In
no!
addition to the because they're just like you're in such a closed quarters kind of thing, and everyone has to eat in the same place. They all eat at certain times, so like you're all gathered together in like the big banquet hall or whatever it is like that. So like you're gearing and like everyone's using the same
Well,
pool.
I don't think we can count on any cruise sponsorships anytime soon.
I don't give a shit. I wouldn't take their money. I like cruises don't have a good reputation these days. Like, well, how many years ago was it now? Like there was that cruise where like everyone's stuck on it for like a month or something like that, and like most of them died.
Well, that was because now there was a pandemic. That one stayed in port for quite a while, like a couple
Right.
months.
Okay, there's the pandemic. But was there one before that that like had some sort of like weird breakdown thing, and there was like an outbreak of something else, and then like the thing eventually like started like sinking or something like that. I can't remember now. It's been years back, but I don't know. I just the whole cruises only sound good like when you very first hear about them. If you think about it for more than like 5 seconds, you're like, yeah, that sounds like a bad idea. Like one person like especially since everyone on board is eating the same thing, so like if like food poisoning or something is introduced, like you've got a whole crew of people that are having nothing but food poisoning. That's just like that's a bad scene right there.
Yeah, I just don't know how common that occurrence is.
It probably isn't that common, but it's common enough for me not to want to do it. I mean, like, I don't know. I'd be like skiing injuries, for example, are probably much more common. But at the same time, like I don't
injuries or
skiing
injuries.
Skiing injuries. I know for a fact that if I went out skiing or something, I would definitely break my leg. There's just no way around it.
100%. They might as well just have the ambulance there waiting.
Exactly.
Before I
Yeah.
even go out.
And I know the way I am with my immune system and the way like I get things. If I went on a cruise, I'm definitely going to get whatever's going on around the cruise. So like it's just for me personally, it's just a no go, right? It's just like I'm not going to do that.
You got to moderate your risk profile, man.
Yeah. And I like traveling. I want to eventually leave this goddamn country. I've never left America in my whole life.
Yeah,
I don't even have a passport. I don't even have a passport to leave. So I started to get one several times, and every time we went to go get one, like the line was so long. I was just like, I'm not waiting all day to possibly not even get in to get the passport. So I could probably go back to on the other hand, if I went back to Texarkana, if I go back to Texarkana, that's what I'm doing with the car that we have. Like I'm not even going to bother trying to register it here in Dallas. I'm going to go drive all the way to where my parents live in Texarkana, where I can walk into the tax assessor office and walk up to the counter and get the title changed over in like 5 minutes. Like it's worth it for me to drive 3.5 hours to a different city to not just sit and wait. I'd rather be driving that time than waiting in line for an entire day. It's just like, and then I get to go see my family and stuff too. So like it has double advantages like that. So right now I'm just waiting on after yesterday's debacle trying to get the stereo thing installed for my daughter. I'm waiting on tomorrow. I have to go at 7:30 to go get the part. I have the condenser for the air conditioning, and he ordered the part that they need for the stereo. And so at 7:30 on Friday, I should have the whole car should be ready to go, and then we can drive down to Texarkana and go get Chloe. We're gonna go get Juniper and bring her back here. I have a lot of cleaning I have to do after the stream today, but like it's all I'm excited to do it just because I want to see my baby so badly. I'm so ready to see my baby. It wasn't supposed to be this long. Hey, ChopperJeff, what's up, man?
Where are you?
You look like you're in the lab, dude. You look like you're in like you look like
bunker.
You look like you're in like one of those like those movies like at the beginning of it where like they're like discovering alien life or something like in like
Detective Alaska.
Or I was thinking like Independence Day or The Arrival or something, and like they're in like the lab where they're in SETI searching for intelligent life, you know. They're in like the lab thing, and like there's a dude sitting at the computer.
Like he's got a whole storage facility full of Diet Pepsi and Diet Coke.
Yeah.
That's in the other room.
A freezer full of Hot Pockets, right? You know, Mountain Dew and Hot Pockets.
How's my audio, guys? I'm testing out a cam and a laptop there in my bunker. So
sounds all right, man. Sounds all right, dude.
Or anything?
Sounds all right.
All right.
Sounds a little shallow on the microphone, but the picture looks really good.
Yeah, shallow on the microphone, but the picture looks good. I mean, but I can understand you clearly. So, like, you know,
well,
compared
to laptop in a storage unit I bought like a couple of weeks ago. So I just got around to rebuilding it and
so it is your
windows on it, and it's really nice. It's fucking too, and yeah, man. The only problem is the battery's dead in it, so it has to stay plugged in, or else I could take it outside and stuff.
You can, you know, go on eBay, dude. You can get like new refurbished like laptop batteries for just about any laptop for cheap on there. I've gotten them for like I've gotten them for like $5.
I got some for sale on there.
I used to run a computer repair business back when I lived in Texarkana. I had this thing called Screenplay Computer Repair, and I used to get all my parts off of eBay, and like I used to get good deals and everything. So like somebody had a battery that was dead, I just like get it off there, and they usually worked great, man. Like, I mean, I never got any complaints back about it. So
yeah, I've got a few extra computer parts just kind of chilling here. There's 2 PowerEdge 510 servers and 610 or 620R or something. But those are really nice, man. Unfortunately, the craziest thing about those servers is I was going to just use them as a desktop PC.
Yeah.
They don't actually have any sound cards in them. So you can't although it'll do everything super smooth and all this, you can't actually listen to any audio or video on it.
Well, why not? All you need to do is use them for storage and then run them to a computer that has a sound card, and the sound card should be able to play them. You just need to use them just use them as a NAS server, man. Like, I mean, they work great. I've repurposed Blade servers as NAS servers before, especially now that you have the adapters for the SSDs, you know, the little the M2 ones. You know, you can just put 2 or 3 of those things in there, and you have a badass NAS server ready to go. You know, and you can just load movies in that, put Plex on there, put Linux and Plex on it, and then let's run that. Just have that thing running in the background; it'll run forever. You know, it's a much better better than the one I'm running.
Virtual machines, so I can. So I used to work for a company called LeapForce, and we did search engine optimization, which also involved.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys may already know what that is, but
I've done some SEO work. Yeah, I know.
Okay. Well, you know, a lot of times you get sent to stuff with potentially malicious links, and they want you to go ahead and click it so you can tell them what it does and stuff.
Yeah.
So I used to run when I did that job, I ran it through a virtual machine. So that be less likely to cause damage to my actual machine.
Oh fuck yeah, man! Sandboxes work great. I love running sandboxes for testing shit out. You know, especially you got a good computer that you don't really know much about. You just put a sandbox on there and you run that VM, and you can just just do. I mean, I used to do everything through a VM. I got lazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work, and stuff messes up, and then not everything's compatible, and you already know.
I do. Me and you have a kinship on the computer geekness there.
Yeah, I don't understand a fucking word you guys are talking about.
Yeah, I was wondering if.
Don't sell yourself short. I know you're a smart guy, Steve. I've been listening to you.
Yeah, computers ain't my shit.
Steve is probably the smartest person on our panel, but at the same time, he may not know computers, though. So I mean,
we all have our smart areas.
No, I'm not saying.
People that shit, man.
Saying that isn't an insult to anybody else on the panel. I just think Steve is like one of the most he's the we talked about you me and Jeff and Frank were talking about you the other night.
He is the shade tree intellectual. So
yes,
yes.
I mean, like I was saying that you're like the best interlocutor that we have on the panels. Like you're always your points. You always make great constructive criticism. You're always like there with like you know how to respectfully disagree and actually add something to someone's argument. Actually challenge them in a way that actually makes their argument either better or actually pokes holes in it. Like you're just like you're one of the best. You're one of the good ones. You're just one of the good ones. That's all there is.
I appreciate that, man. That's a huge compliment, man. It's taken years to refine that, and if anybody wants to learn how to do that, the first thing I would recommend is go out and buy, read, study, and practice.
Yeah.
How to Have Impossible Conversations by Peter Boghossian and James Lindsay.
Is this on audiobook? Because I can't.
It used to be. I'm not sure it is anymore. But it's not a big book. It's actually a quick read. And the cool thing about it is, it's my take on autism and ADHD. The cool thing about the book is you can read a section and just practice a section, and then you can read another section. And once you get good at that one section, then you move on to the next section and you practice that. And so it's not like a book that you have to read all the way through or anything like that. It functions more like a study manual than it does anything else, but it's a phenomenal fucking book.
Let me, and after the stream, Chopper, just let me know. Like I don't know if I still have it. I haven't accessed it in a long time. But I used to have a membership to a torrent server that was specifically for audiobooks that had like every freaking audiobook ever made like archived on it. So let me know, and I'll see if I can find it for you. Like it was an amazing resource. Like I just haven't been audiobook like. I've been into audiobooks here in the last couple of years, but I used to download them and listen to them all the time. Especially when I worked at Amazon, even though we weren't supposed to have like our phones and like our in earbuds and stuff like that, I still would I would sneak my phone and I have like the one earbud, like one of the little like hidden earbuds in my ear, and I would just I'd be doing like my job, I would just be listening to audiobooks and shit like that.
The trick is to get earbuds that look like hearing aids, and then when somebody says something, just say, "What? Huh?"
Yeah. Well, that was a nice thing when I was turning a wrench. Yeah. I could listen to audiobooks for 10 hours a day. And dude, I probably spent $2,000 a year on audiobooks because I'd go through anywhere between 3 and 10 books a month. Like it was just insane. On top of that, I was reading regular books. So problem is now, since my career change, I'm in a secure area and I can't have my phone. So it kind of sucks.
You have real books?
I can't have my phone either. But I picked up this little MP3 player thing off of Amazon, and it gets through the metal detector, so I don't have to worry about it so much.
I can't even do that.
Yeah.
I bring my vape in.
I tell you, I found so many great audiobooks on there that were great, but I found one that was it turned out it was read by and this is years back, so it was before the AI voices got really good, and it was it just had a computer voice reading it as the audiobook, and it was so, but it was but of all the things it was Philip K. Dick's what's it called? Shit, I can't remember the name of but it's a collection of all of his writings and letters from after he had his psychotic break type thing, where he the whole thing about where he thought he was in 33 AD and a demon had cast a spell over the world, all the stuff that all of his later books are all about that, about that stuff, and it was the Exegesis. It's the Exegesis of Philip K. Dick. And that, I found an audiobook for that, and it was all read by an AI voice, and it was impossible to listen to, because trying to listen to something on that level of deep intellectual conversation by a voice, it's like reading it like a robot, man. It was so bad. I tried to listen to it anyway.
Dick, didn't he write Do Robots Dream of Electric Sheep?
Yeah, he wrote I mean Blade Runner is based on that.
Yeah.
He wrote I mean, most of the science fiction Minority Report's based on his books. A lot of bad movies are based on his books too. But like especially the last trilogy he made. Have you ever seen Waking Life, Steve?
I don't think so.
Waking Life is wonderful.
It's a
Waking Up.
Great movie. But like there's a scene later in the movie that's where like it's actually the director of the film. Richard Linklater's character is actually plays a character. He's playing pinball and he's explaining like about what happened to Philip K. Dick later in his life, where and it's actually all true. It's all in the Exorcist. Like this whole experience he had, where this girl came up to his door that was like selling like Girl Scout cookies or something like that, and he had like this weird she had an ichthus necklace, and it glistened in the sun, and he had like this weird vision that he was back in like the days of Jesus, and he was one of the apostles, and all this stuff like that, and it convinced him that he was still living in the world 33 AD, and a demon had convinced the world that the time had gone on, but it actually stood still. And it's fascinating, dude. Like, I mean, like the reading about, and like the way, but it's so much deeper than that when you read the Exorcist and read some of the things he writes. Like, you can't help but like be like, dude might have been crazy, but he was on to something. There's something about like some of the things he writes that just like hit me in like the soul. You know what I mean? So there's something about it that just like feels like really like, not all of it. I mean, there's a lot of it that's just like, dude, what the hell were you? But he wasn't. I mean, he was an ex. I mean, he used to do drugs back then. I mean, that's what what's it called? Scanner Darkly. You know, Scanner Darkly is about that. Scanner Darkly is about like, you know, about the fact that like he was an ex drug addict, and like it was like dedicated to all the people that he knew that were taken by drugs and stuff like that. So, Scanner Darkly is also a great movie too. I think Linklater did an amazing job with that. So, I highly recommend. Anybody read Philip K. Dick in general, but especially if you can find a copy of it. The Exorcist of Philip K. Dick it's a really massive. It's a massive tome. It's like the actual book is like this thick. It's really massive, and it's just like a collection of his letters and writings and his journal entries and stuff like that. But like, and not every bit of it is just like is absolutely essential, but like there are pearls of wisdom in there and thoughts in there that are like on like that same level as like C.S. Lewis and or Christopher Hitchens and like those kind of like authors that just make you think about things in a way that you've never thought about before. It's so good, man. It's just like it's one of my favorite. It's probably my top 10 favorite books of all time.
We can't really mention Waking Life and A Scanner Darkly without mentioning the fact that Alex Jones has some epic cameos, and
yes, he does in both of those movies.
Epic.
Absolutely epic. He is in Waking Life. He is the guy that is like that's driving, because you know Alex Jones actually used to do that, right? That's how. Yes. That's after
he had a public access channel.
After Waco happened, and he was like, because he had like a radio show, and after Waco happened, he was reporting on it. He got like blackballed, and he couldn't, so he started driving around Austin with a loudspeaker in his car and a radio, and would just start screaming his rants downtown at anyone who would listen to them. And so that's what the scene in Waking Life is. It's like literally what Alex Jones used to do. And then of course in Scanner Darkly, he's playing like a guy that's like
he's doing the same thing, but they come and zip. And then
they come and take him away. Yeah, it's like, I mean, you know, and like, so Linklater to me is like, and you know, and like I used to listen to Alex Jones's show, and he used to speak really highly of Linklater and Robert Rodriguez both, because they were both friends of his. And this one day he got really mad at Robert Rodriguez's like the trailer that came out that he put out for Machete. Remember the Machete movie? Yeah. And he was like, this is propaganda. This is about the Mexicans coming to take over the country and all this stuff. And Robert Rodriguez called into the show. It was epic, dude. Robert Rodriguez called into the show. He was like, Alex, dude, like, you know me, man. Like, you know that's not what I'm about. This is a comedy. This is a silly movie. Like, and he was like, I'm sorry. I got carried away. That was wrong of me. I'm sorry, man. I really am. It's like So it was so epic, man. Like, I mean, he never talked shit about it again. He completely if the next 3 days he was like, most of his show was apologizing for ranting about for being mean to Rob Rodriguez, because Rob Rodriguez came on and was like really super, like, he was super chill about it too. He wasn't even like upset. He was like, man, like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not trying to push any shit like that. Like, you know me. Like, we have dinner together. Like, what are you doing? You know.
Yeah, hearing Alex eat some humble pie is always kind of entertaining. I mean, I like the guy, but he does get carried away an awful lot.
Oh, dude, like what? Like back when I was working for LeSig, the e-cig company I used to work for, like that's like all the owner listened to during the daytime was Alex Jones. You know, Alex Jones had like a 4-hour show, so I listened to the whole Alex Jones show every day for like months. And after the machete, after he got off the machete thing, for like a week, he for some reason was mad at Squidbillies for some reason. I don't know why. But he was mad at Squidbillies because they had an episode where like the joke in it was that this there was like a character named Dan Halen in the show that was like the evil corporate guy who was putting fluoride in the water, and literally the show was like satirizing it in a way that was was kind of like on the side of like Alex Jones's thing. But Alex Jones, for some reason, I guess he didn't really watch it or something, he just got sent a clip, and he was convinced that they were trying to normalize fluoride being in the water, and fluoride's poison. And like no one called in and challenged him on that, unfortunately. But he got off that topic pretty fast. But like, it was just hilarious. I was like, dude, like, Squidbillies ain't trying to like brainwash you. Like, Squidbillies is the dumbest fucking thing.
Yeah,
Alex Jones is fucking just absolutely bonkers, dude. That guy is not all there, I don't think.
Well, I guess, but at the same time, I do understand a little bit. Like, if you were doing a 4-hour-a-day radio show, right, and it's just you for the most part, you don't have many guests or anything, and you have to have something to rant or talk about every day. I mean, you know, you do run out of things to talk about. You can only rant about the Democrats or whatever so many times before like it gets old. So.
Yeah, but then you just shorten your show. Why do you know?
I agree, but I mean, you know, if he had a contract, I don't know. I think at the time he had like it was a nationally syndicated radio show at the time. Before he ended up on the internet. Isn't it? I don't think so. No, I think it's fully independent now. I think you have to listen to it through InfoWars. At the time, he had a syndicated radio show still, out of Austin, but he lost that whenever all the Sandy Hook shit happened.
Yeah, I don't really agree with what was done with him about the Sandy Hook stuff, but
yeah, I don't either. But I mean, he did make. I mean, I think many other people made many worse claims than he did. I don't think I don't think what he did was that bad, but at the same time, I mean, like he definitely did promote some bullshit. But I mean, it's
a free country. You're free to be a dipshit, And
yep.
I don't know. I don't see it. I see what was done to him as a slippery slope for now. If you say anything on your platform that somebody can take that way, I mean, then now you're liable. It's basically an assault on free speech.
Oh, look, I think iPhi has a crush on me. He's calling me Christina.
What?
Well, we did have that conversation a few weeks ago.
I think part of the problem
did I come out as a woman at some point that I don't remember? Did I get really drunk or something and come out as a woman on the stream? I don't think I did.
But I think part of the problem with the free speech stuff, and I know this is going to be a weird tie-in here, but I made a Facebook post on my account, and one of my neighbors commented on it, and it was basically I was cheering on some conservatives in Texas who were being vocal against putting up the 10 Commandments again. And he got on there and he was just, under God, and God is in our Constitution, and under God is, part of our culture. And I'm like, dude, do you know where that came from? Because for one thing, God is nowhere to be found in the Constitution. It's in the Declaration of Independence, but the founding fathers always made reference to a theistic God, not like a specific God. But I was like, dude, it was the Red Scare. Like we got scared that for some reason we thought that because the Soviet Union professed to be atheist, that somehow our freedom to practice faith here in the United States needed to be cemented in law. So it was just a weird conversation. But my point to that is like, I think a lot of it is just not understanding history, not understanding like the entire core concept of the inception and creation of the United States and its Bill of Rights and all of its founding documents. Yeah, it's just it is fucking astounding. And I like this guy. This guy has a key to my house. He takes care of my dogs when I go on vacation.
Wow. Okay.
He's a good man. It's just what a fucking bonkers perspective, man.
What do you mean, Tim, that's Hegelian? I don't see. I mean, like, just because like we're having like a dialogue, I don't see what's so Hegelian about what Steve said.
Lib.
I think you'd have to be a little bit more specific.
Yeah,
Liv's,
I don't know.
Wait, Liv's not even up here.
Liv's not here, dude.
Yeah.
Tim, I mean, like,
Hegel made a lot of arguments, and I'm not aware of which one he's talking about.
Well, Hegel. I mean, you know, Hegel's just like a. It is weird how like all of the leftist stuff all traces back to Hegel, though, I will say. But then again, you can trace Hegel back to Martin Luther. So then where does that get us?
And the Bible.
How far back do you want to go, right? You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the funny thing too, is like, how would you describe this? It was. No, I don't even know if I should even attempt it. Really.
Go ahead. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, like, I'll respect it no matter what you have to say, dude. Like, I'm totally down to hear what you have to say.
No, it was actually pretty fairly low resolution. It was just, you know, Hegel was amazing, and his book on time and being was pretty fundamental to. I would actually say foundational to how we perceive philosophical ideas. You know that. You know, the seeking of knowledge, true justified belief, things like this are all rooted in Hegelian, you know,
dialectics.
Dialectics. And so, you know, and then it's funny because the book that I just referenced earlier, How to Have Impossible Conversations, James Lindsay and Peter Boghossian are both very, very anti-trans, which I'm against that. I'm for trans people. So the reason why I recommend that book is one, it's a phenomenal fucking book. Two, even if it had shit in there, you could still glean a lot of knowledge from it. Three, they left their politics out of it, which makes it even better. And Hegel did that too, where he was a pretty well-known anti-Semite, but he didn't put any of his politics into his books. And I think that's like critically a difference that we have now compared to before. We kind of lose sight of objectivity. I mean, if people really wanted to kind of crush him on it, they could have easily. But I think people in those days, they let the ideas speak for themselves rather than try to attack the author. I'm not saying that didn't happen. I'm just saying it seems like that was more common back then. But now everybody feels like they need to attack the person making the argument rather than actually addressing the fucking argument, which is intellectually dishonest.
I mean, like, if we really based everything off the person who said it, like, I mean, wouldn't all of the entire Protestant wing of Christianity, would that not be all invalidated by the fact that Martin Luther was a raging anti-Semite? You know,
yeah.
I mean, like, right? I mean, like, you have to take ideas on their own, no matter where they come from. Even a fucking Hitler or a Stalin can occasionally say something that's true, just because we're all humans and we all have a shared human experience. We all breathe air. So like, it gets to the point where it's like, well, he's breathing air, therefore he must be communist, you know? I mean, it gets ridiculous at a certain point. Wait, are you calling me trans? I find that's funny. That's really hilarious to me. Like I seriously, like, I mean, I know he's just trolling, but man, like, I mean, he's going for it. He's really out there, like, he's swinging for the fences. I like, mad respect, dude. Like, I mean, like, I don't think there's anybody that would make that connection. But dear God,
dude's got a master's degree in fuckery, dude. Sometimes it's honestly, it's fucking hilarious.
It really is. I mean, I'm giving him credit. I think he's being very funny right now. And by the way, I can respect Steve, but I says I respect Steve no matter what he says. It's not the same thing as I respect anything he says. I've disagreed with Steve before many times. That's fine. We can have disagreements and still have respect for each other. That's how real adults talk to each other. By the way. Real adults have conversations.
You can't just be like, your words are re-victimizing the family.
I thought the grown person, he's a father and a husband. Like, I'm not taking anybody to
I'll believe it when I see it. I'll also believe it when I see a picture of a kid or something like that.
Like,
I don't think unless he has her chained to a radiator, I don't think he has a woman. Yeah, I can troll too, you know. I mean, as far as we know, iPhi has like a kidnapped gay harem in his basement. I don't fucking know what he has. I'm just saying, like, I mean, come on, like,
I want one of those. How do you get that?
Yeah, you don't debate trans commies. Well, that's cool. I mean, I'm not a trans commie, but you know, you do well not to debate me. I don't care if you want to talk to me or not, dude. Anyway,
iPhi, you're the one that's always on here asking to come on here. I'm not seeking you out at all.
And like, you know what? We have ChopperJeff here who has an actual underground bunker. Unlike iPhi, who just talks about bunker stuff all the time, and like, look, we got the people. This is who iPhi wants to be, is ChopperJeff right there. He wishes he had an underground bunker like that shit. I mean, come on, ChopperJeff's the real hero here. He's the real Superman, according to his T-shirt.
I had to get a hat because the lights were
taunt and you shall receive.
Taunt and I shall receive. Thank God.
Oh, what's up, iPhi?
Hello.
How's your voice doing, man?
Kung Flu's fucked me.
God damn, it does sound like it, yeah.
Bro, I had a fever of 107 the other day.
What?
Holy shit, man.
Dang.
I mean, I've had fevers that high before too, but like that's still bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the kind of fever. That's the kind of fever.
Because I was pouring. I was like, literally, she thought I like pissed the bed or something, but I was just covered in sweat.
Yeah. No.
How long did that last?
Not long. She was trying to get me to go to the hospital, but I told her no, and I just.
You should have gone.
Well, if you have bronchitis for like 4 months, then you probably have long COVID.
No, I'm better now. Like, I went to work last night and busted ass, and I had to take a few moments and cough my lungs out, but I actually feel pretty good today.
I have to cough up my lungs on a daily basis. So the first thing I do when I wake up is cough out my lungs for about an hour, and then for the rest of the day, my laryngitis just completely blows my voice, so I can't talk for like more than 5 minutes.
Let's not waste it. What did you come up here to say?
I came here to vibe with ChopperJeff, so apparently we were allies all along, and I didn't even know.
I've been telling you that.
You have a lot of allies. You're really bad at identifying.
I agree with a lot of what you say, but the way you say it many times is really douchey.
Oh, don't tone police, Jeff. We already have the Karens on the panel.
It is all about optics. You won't change hearts and minds.
Cynthia's the tone police.
Cynthia's not here. Cynthia is not here.
She's here in spirit, though. If she hears me talking mean, she'll come on panel. And
okay, now you talking crazy. Go on with you.
So, anyways, Chopper.
Cynthia has her own life. She actually has a family and stuff.
I know.
That's too much.
Oh, I want to get the PSA out of the way. So if Barbie shows, she doesn't even have to show up. She can just watch the video. Barbie, the other day I said something incorrect. We were talking about autism.
We tried to tell you.
And then we brought up the topic of Down syndrome, and then you misunderstood me and thought I was talking about Down syndrome. I was talking about autism.
No,
And
I knew you were talking about autism.
Hold on. Let me just get the correction out of the way, Jeff. So she asked me a question
correction because it's wrong.
She asked me a question about about Down syndrome, like what genes identify it. And my brain was still stuck on autism, and I thought she was asking me about the genes that identify autism. And so I answered her incorrectly. I said there is no genes. And then she had a meltdown because she thought I was saying there is no genetic identifier for Down syndrome, which is obviously not what I said. Anyways, that's the correction for Barbie. I apologize. I've got, mucus on my brain. I can't hear very clearly, and so I was focused on autism, and I heard you say autism, but you actually said Down syndrome, and I was
well. It's so good that you have some voice to spare to
yeah.
So you're now on record.
So now I want to talk to ChopperJeff as soon as I clear up with Steve real quick. Any thoughts on autism, ADHD, other than haha, it's funny? Is there any other thoughts you'd like to share besides that?
No, I don't think it's funny, nor do I have any experience in it, so I would hesitate to make comment on it.
Because the original question was, do you have any input on it, like feelings, input, whatever? And you said, autism, ADHD. So I didn't know if you just thought it was funny.
I was laughing at the out of the blue question.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was a derail because we were talking about it 2 days ago. So you can catch that video if you want.
I have ADHD. My son has ADHD. My wife has ADHD. So I'm more familiar with that than I am any.
Do you think it's genetic?
If I remember correctly, there is some suggestion that it is genetic. But I don't know for sure.
Okay, that's fine. What would you say to people that claim they know it is genetic and that's the only cause of it? How would you respond to them?
I would say that's a foolish remark to make because I think there's a lot of things to go into it. I think it could be partially genetic. I think you could be predisposed to it genetically, but I think your environment has quite a bit to do with it as well.
All right.
He's jigging around because
I like this dude. Now, see, Jeff, I can talk to Steve about it because obviously the other day
I thought you were trying to get us to fight, but I'd rather you two continue.
No, I would be more than happy to talk to him about it.
In fact, I'll go on mute. Go ahead.
Let's put autism on the back burner for now because that's even way more complicated topic. But so ADHD. If you had to guess, I'm not saying you're a medical doctor and I'm not a medical doctor, but let's just say if you had to guess for your own personal opinion, what do you think are the top 3 factors that cause it?
Well, if we're discounting genetics,
why would we discount it? You just said it's a possibility.
Right. I'm saying we discount it because we know. Well, let's say that we assume that we know that it is partially genetic, so we can remove that from the conversation.
Why, if you're doing your top 3 causes?
Because process of elimination, we don't have to use it because we already know it's there. So we're looking at
no. Listen to exactly the way I phrased my question.
Okay.
You personally. If I asked you, Steve, what are your top 3 beliefs on what causes ADHD? What would you rank them as?
Well,
boy,
that's a tough question.
I think that for me personally, it was a lack of an emotionally available father.
Okay, that's nurture, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's one. What else?
I think. Oh, how would you put this?
English, preferably.
Yeah.
Feel free to speak layman because I don't think anyone here is a PhD in medicine either. So just talk.
Yeah. No, I will. I tend to prefer to do that.
Okay, super.
I think that the genetics comes in I think it comes in a little bit more heavily than we suspect it does.
Okay.
Because I think it sets the staging ground for the environment to play a heavier role. So what I mean by that is even early on in my life, I was a very inquisitive child and I didn't get the answers I wanted. And so I tended to bounce around a lot. I tended to not be very good at paying attention, even from an early age.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know,
so
three,
same
three
here.
or four.
Same here.
nature. You said nature.
But
you said
yeah.
genetics. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
Is there a third one, or do you just want to stick?
No,
with
no, no.
those two?
That's partially genetic, I think, because I was predisposed to that kind of behavior.
Your genetics is your nature, though. That's the whole nature versus nurture debate. So genetics is nature, biology.
It's,
in other words,
it's mostly genetic. It's
I've
brain
misheard
structure.
you.
It's chemistry. It's
And
physiological
and
things.
and-
It's not
and here-
environmental.
And here's a suggestion that I
the
think
environmental conditions, what's already pre-existing physiologically.
so
I
Steve,
think, I
the
think
old
this
debate
is something
okay,
that's not
I'll wait till they're
often.
done.
This is something that's not often said, though. I don't necessarily think ADHD is necessarily, even though in today's environment, the way the world works today, ADHD can be a detriment. But I don't think ADHD is necessarily a defect. I think it's
No,
a
it's not.
form
It's
of the way our brains form in this way as an advantage in some ways for certain environments. But like the environment of today's society does not necessarily benefit much from having ADHD.
Actually,
in all cases, it does in certain cases. It does in certain cases, but I'm saying, but it doesn't in all, like in school and like in regulated school environments and stuff like that. Like I did great at ADHD made me great at being a homeschooled kid. Okay, I finished all my work at 16. I got all the way through my senior books and everything, all my tests by the time by the time I was 16. So, I mean, like it was advantage for me, but if I'd been public school, I would have been probably held back because I would have been moving too fast or too slow in certain areas, right? So like I'm saying, like I think we see ADHD as like a defect or a problem, but I don't think it is. I think it's just a different. I think it's just like brains that are just developed differently and have like different just different markers and different interests, and it doesn't necessarily mesh well with society the way it's structured right now. That's my opinion.
If you look at ADHD broadly, what it is it's a oh fucking hell, I just lost the word for it. It's a processing issue, right?
Yeah, that's what I keep saying. Telling people. That's what I tried to tell that pro lady. Exactly what Chris just said.
If I can remember, because it's been a while since I've read anything on it, but the evolutionary psychological perspective is that we were primed for centuries for it, especially males, which is why it's more predominant in males. Is when you go out and you go hunting, right? You have all of this sensory input that you have to constantly be aware of. You have to constantly be able to identify things, issues, threats. You have to identify the ground. I mean, there's just a ton of things that you have to identify as you're doing all of this. And so the argument is that boys specifically were primed for this. And then when you get to a point in society, much like what we're in today, where there's just an overabundance of input, it makes what was there naturally and beneficial into something that is not necessarily always beneficial. I don't want to say it's harmful, but it's definitely not beneficial.
It can seem like a detriment. It can seem like a detriment.
Right. Only because of the neurotypical norms that
exactly, yeah.
Exactly,
yeah.
Hey,
Steve,
before you forget, I want to finish the question later, but I'll let them keep talking.
Do you guys take medication for ADHD?
I do because
I don't get to hear from you often enough. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So, sorry.
So Steve, I don't think we're going to make it to 3, so let's just do 2 for now and see if we can cover 2. Okay. So
I have a third. If you want to hear it.
What's the third one? Go ahead.
It can sometimes be brought on by trauma.
So again, environment, nurture, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so you want nature?
I'm curious about that, Steve. Like, how do you think that? I'm sorry, I just want to expand on that a little bit. I'm just curious. Like, how do you see this trauma as being possibly like affecting ADHD or helping to cause it in some way? I'm not saying arguing. I'm just not sure how that works.
There is a correlation between ADHD and how would you put this? Overly aggressive and unreadable parents. Meaning if they lose their temper at a
unreadable?
whim, you don't know who you get today. You know, who's my parent going to be today? Are they going to be calm, or are they going to be blowing up, throwing shit all over the fucking place?
Okay.
There is a little bit of a correlation to that as a trauma response. Some, I think, market it more as a trauma response, and I think that's a little dishonest. But a trauma response is definitely, in my opinion, one of those equivalents. It could be a parent who has what's called split personality disorder, which is not
or bipolar
PID. Bipolar and split personality disorder, people view it as very similar, but it's not.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that actually. I thought that split personality disorder was seen as like something as almost like a pseudo scientific thing that they weren't even sure was real. I didn't know that it was for sure real.
I'm skeptical. This is one of the things Steve and I might argue about. I'm skeptical. I'd have to see stuff first to know more. But
well, split personality is very similar to bipolar, but the problem is that, you know, for example, my ex-wife, I believe, has it, the split personality disorder, because there were days where she would be such a drastically different person for no fucking reason. Like, it was just one day she'd be very sweet, very kind. The next week it would just be, you know, fighting and blowing up and throwing shit, and it was like there was no observable trigger for this. And then on top of that,
it was like a mild form of schizophrenia.
No. On top of that, if we got into an argument about something when she was quote unquote manic, right? She would generally not remember it when she wasn't.
Yeah, I've encountered that too with like my wife that's schizophrenia. That's the reason I asked.
So when you have a child that's raised by someone like that, it can cause some serious fucking issues. And one of the responses for that is you're going to look for something to do so that you are not in the line of fire. And so the child tends to learn how to multi-focus on multiple different things, or we'll go from one thing to another just to try and do something to please the parent. So I think it's partially a trauma response as well. I hope that gives you a little bit of insight into what I was thinking.
That does totally. I was very curious about. I mean, because
I would not classify that as ADHD, and that's why if you're trait based, you don't need to. You can deal with the trait itself of like what multitasking, whatever. If it's interfering with their life somehow, if it came from trauma. Like if you focus on the specific trait, then if it's traumagenic, then that's one thing. But then if it's the result of brain structure or genetics or whatever, that's a different thing.
I'm just giving opinions on what I think might be causing it in different situations.
I understand it's just your opinion.
None of us are.
I wasn't saying you're a medical doctor, and this isn't law or anything. I'm just saying your opinion. So, Steve, that's great. Thank you for answering all.
Mental health symptoms can mimic traits of ADHD or autism neurodivergent. That's why if you're not experiencing both, a lot of times it's hard for professionals to tell what's the neurodivergence and what's related to like trauma or mental health, like Steve said, because it could look identical.
By the way, I wrote the question in the comments just in case I can't finish the question, but you can just read the spoilers if you want to, Steve.
So what was your next question would be, what percentage would you rate each of these? Ooh. I am going to what's the word? Jesus, I can't think of fucking words. Oh, you know why? 'Cause I didn't take my fucking medication this morning.
Coffee
in there.
I'm going to choose not to answer that because I just simply do not have the background in that to make that.
I think like 90 something percent genetics, if not higher.
I know what you think, Jeff. I was asking Steve his opinion.
I will be on record.
I think, you know, even when you have the conversation of genetics, you still have to ask the question, how intense is that genetic reaction?
On that note, Steve, since we're kind of done with the topic now, here's a closer for me. Are you familiar with the eugenics movement?
I wouldn't say I'm familiar with it, but I know about it. Yeah.
Okay. Do you recall in the early 1900s when they were talking about getting rid of the feeble-minded through like selective breeding and such?
I
we've
don't remember
all
that.
heard
I
that
remember
stuff.
them making
I'm
the
familiar.
argument.
Okay, so do you think
that came from the
do you think
progressive
there has
side.
been a lot of progress made on the topic of what is a feeble-minded person?
Ask Canada, and they're made.
Yeah.
Technology.
Also, Steve,
Good one, Jeff.
here's the spoiler. Here's the spoiler. Do you think that the modern word autism is simply the borrowed term feeble-minded, and they never bothered to
No.
clarify it?
No, because
Okay.
I know plenty of people who are autistic who are very what you would consider high functioning, and they go their whole life not even knowing.
So you don't think there were
Yeah.
any autism
You hear
people
that?
that were involved in the feeble-minded movement at all? You don't think any of those were being misdiagnosed as feeble-minded?
You're being
I wouldn't-
disingenuous, and you're
I
twisting
wouldn't even hesitate
Don't say what
to
I'm being,
say
Jeff. I'm
I'm
being
not
very
going to
genuous.
answer that question
Mhm.
just because it's just I don't have enough information to base.
Okay,
something on.
I just wanted to see your take on it. I was just curious on your perception.
Okay, well,
of
let's
that.
welcome
Awesome.
Denizen, another
Hi,
guest, and
Denizen.
give him a chance to talk.
And then I'll
give him-
derail with Jeff when we move to conservatarian.
Welcome, Denizen.
What's up, Denizen?
Yo, what's up, guys?
So Chopper, when there's no topic, we'll talk conservataria. But until then, we'll just give other people the chance to speak.
Well, I'm sure Chopper could
All
figure
right.
it out as a grown person.
So Denizen,
I think
what
part
would
of
you
the
like to
problem
talk
we
about?
have with these issues is trying to separate nature and nurture.
We
Yeah.
just
And
did
try-
that.
No.
Well,
we
Yeah,
did
I
not.
wouldn't do that though. I don't think it's nature versus nurture, and I think
You would
that's
conflate the terms?
no.
Yeah,
I
they're
would
in a
keep them
constant-
separately.
they're in a constant feedback loop with each other. Your genetics
Good
and
point.
your environment.
Good
If
point.
you
are-
listen to Jeff, who
Denizen,
actually
you
has
can have
experience
multiple
doing this,
variables
you
that
don't need-
overlap. That doesn't
Okay,
mean there
I'll
aren't
just do
two
my puzzle.
variables.
But the very fact that we're talking about it all, it kind of suggests that we're trying to create like a one unified theory for how people are, and like it's just there's never going to be that because every person, based on the genetic lottery you get from like the genes you get from your parents, plus the environment, the literal actual environment. I'm talking about the state and the city and the pollution in the air that you're born into, and in addition to like the relationship that your parents have and in relationship that you have with your family. All of these things are all factors in who you are, and so trying to find one unified solution for like this is how people are and this is how they're developed is never going to work because we're all built out of these tiny little blocks, these tiny like building blocks, like little Legos that all get like kind of added somewhat randomly that like, but you know, without our input. I mean, I can tell you, I saw signs of ADHD in my daughter Clover from the time she was like 3. But like, I mean, like, I don't know that what we could have done to avoid that. I don't know that there's anything we could have done
Was she
differently.
circumcised? It could be from circumcision.
Oh, Jeff, don't be silly. You're such a
Yeah,
troll.
we totally we just cut off the whole dick. Just we said we want a girl, so
So
we just cut the
Denizen-
dick off entirely. Yeah.
Denizen,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
problem you just portrayed is that there is no blue and red. There's only purple because when you mix them together, that's all of reality is just purple.
No,
Kind
what
of,
I'm
yeah.
saying, is that it is purple, and you're saying it can only be blue or red.
No, I'm saying there is a red.
It's
there is a
blue versus red. In fact,
Sometimes
is how
they
you.
overlap.
That's
and when they
exactly how you
overlap,
put it.
It's called purple. That's fine, but we can still separate the origins of red and blue.
They
There's-
always
It's
overlap.
not the only choice, Denizen.
They are
They do
constantly.
always overlap. How can they
They're
not
constantly influencing each other all the time.
Yeah.
And
how
until
can
you
they
acknowledge that, your
It's
thinking is going to
dialectic.
keep you in a narrow little hallway where none of the doors have the answers you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how can they not overlap constantly? Like I seriously, like I mean seriously, explain to me how
It's a
that
thought
it can be one or the
experiment.
other.
It's the old brain in a jar experiment. We've already done this a million
Okay,
times.
okay.
before.
Well,
That means
but
he
we're
doesn't
talking
know.
about I didn't think we were talking about thought experiments. I thought we were talking about real life. So
You
I
can
guess
real
I was-
life
I
put a
was on
brain in a jar, Chris, and you would isolate the environment from the.
you know what happens?
Biology.
You know what happens if you put a brain in a jar?
Right, because a brain isn't biology.
They fucking die.
Yeah, that's what I say. If you don't have to put a brain in a jar, you have a dead brain.
Final jar.
You have
So-
an inanimate, non-thinking thing. It's just an organ that used to be part of a person. You don't have a
Test tubes is what I'm hearing.
Well, let's try.
physically
We
impossible.
have the laboratory right here. We have iPhi. We have
Is
the
it
back
physically
side.
impossible to grow babies in a test tube? Hair doctor, since you're such the expert on science.
Well, you said brain in a jar. I guess they have done test tube babies. I suppose that's true.
So babies don't have brains?
Okay, iPhi, this is getting tedious.
They're
It's
not
really an
outside, but
experience
they're
for me
inside of a
and
skull
probably
of a
everybody
Okay,
else.
cage.
So
Jeff, can
turn
we
it
talk about
around or
politics
stick
now?
it
This
out.
is going nowhere. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of took it nowhere.
So,
Yeah.
No, I pointed out to you that red and blue
You
is a
made like
reality.
these
Coming from you.
absurd abstract arguments that
Red
weren't
and
even
blue
they
is an
were
absurd,
none
abstract idea. You've never heard of
I
a
mean,
red crayon and a blue crayon before?
Oh my god,
at
dude.
this
Like,
at this point I'm just
at this
gonna have
point,
to
this is just annoying.
keep
iPhi,
talking and turn you down a little bit so I can finish a sentence. The abstract ideas about blue and red that you brought up had nothing to do with what we're talking about. And if we use your analogy, like I said, which you did not address, everything is purple, and you're trying to make it blue versus red.
Everything isn't purple, though. That's where you're wrong.
It is
You're making a
absolutely
false
on this
statement.
topic. It 100% is.
No,
Your
we proved you wrong.
neurodivergence is
Talking about how
100%
you can
going to be a
isolate
result of
Yeah.
your
from nurture.
your environment. Absolutely will always play a role
How
in your
can-
neurodiversity. 100%. Period. End of story.
I mean,
in
you
the
could say
in
like
the
a
real
bad
world, how will you ever
environment
separate
is the
the
lack
two?
of environment. That's true. But that's just rephrasing the terms.
We're not talking about brains in a vats, and that would still include biology. Again, your
And it's
analogy
still
is
an- and
incorrect.
that's still an
Your premise
environment.
is false. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about ADHD, autism, etc.
Yeah,
Hey,
and that's-
hey,
and
Denizen. Hey, Denizen.
That's still an environment.
took
Even
this
if your
back.
brain is in a jar, that is still in it. And so, and in this fantasy scenario you have, the brain is a living thing in a jar. That environment is still going to affect the genetics of that brain, regardless of the fact that it's in a jar. The jar is now the environment, and the jar will affect that brain's development.
Of course.
There is no way in which it does. These two things do not mix. There is no way to separate them.
Of course.
Yeah, Jeff. What's up?
iPhi, I have a serious question for you because you are the only allegedly neurotypical on this panel.
Allegedly.
So far, maybe Chopper has hope. I'll talk to him later.
Like, so as somebody from that group, why does it bother? What concerns you about us, or what bothers you about us that this is even an issue? For
Because
you?
my child
this
is
a
going to grow up in an
concern?
environment full of you people.
But
You're gonna be the
why does
classroom
that
he
bother
grows
you?
up
Though? Like,
in.
what bothers you about that?
You are the society he's going to grow up in. He's going to be hearing
I know,
all
but
you people
you
talk
say that
about
like
this
it's
stuff.
bad, or something.
It's very
That's
bad.
definitely
Jeff.
not true either.
What
the
about
destruction
it is
of
bad? That's
civilization.
what I'm trying
Society
to.
is definitely made up of neurotypical
It's the
people.
downfall of society.
Hence
Jeff.
the use of the
Especially
term
since
typical.
tech and the computer we're talking is mostly like from neurodivergent brains.
If we were talking about only good and intelligent people, Jeff, I would have nothing.
Okay,
to
you're
complain
dodging my
about.
question though. I thought you're evading.
I answered your question.
No, what about us, our type of people of society, has you worry? What specifically?
You in
are worried
particular,
about?
Jeff, are a left centrist who always apologizes to left.
He's a right centrist, if anything.
And
But I was
Chris
asking
is so
'cause
left wing, he doesn't even know what
No,
right
you're
wing
shifting the
is.
conversation. I was talking about
I don't know.
There's
what
no
right
such
wing
thing
is.
as left or right. It's a false paradigm.
See, and according to Denizen, neither one exists. We're all centrist, Jeff.
Okay, look,
imagine
I have to say one thing.
how good you have to be at critical thinking to believe that the human species falls into a 50-50 categorization.
It's not 50-50, by the way. It's more like a Bell distribution, but that's a whole different
and a
topic.
threshold.
I want to say one thing, and I will mute and let you guys like duke it out for a while. But all I can say from the main thing I got out of all of that is that if iPhi is truly neurotypical, I have never been more proud in my life to be non-neurotypical.
Amen, brother.
I cannot be so. I could not be more thankful in my for anything in my life.
Step is
most people are stupid.
I am not in the same mental category as iPhi. I can
Congratulations,
proudly.
Chris. The first step is self-awareness.
We might want to have more neurotypical step up and represent if this.
Okay, so
if this is what neurotypical is, then like if that's what if this is being right,
most people are stupid.
That's true.
Neurotypical is neuro unaware and ignorant on most topics, not only one's own mental health.
So
especially in the United States.
To be smart, I have to be crazy to be smart.
No, you're calling it ill and crazy.
Okay, if anyone has any other topic
I just said an entire sentence that didn't use the word ill or crazy. That's what I said.
You just said neurotypical is unaware. So we're ignorant. We're blissfully ignorant. That's why we're healthy.
This is our chance to move the panel along.
I don't follow.
Yeah,
anything
absolutely.
you're saying. I don't understand any words.
You seem to be following it just fine. You
He's
just
gonna
repeated
hijack
it without the hyperbole.
Without the clarification, I know. That's
No, you started with the hyperbole, then you clarified, and you summarized what I said successfully. So you understand what I'm saying.
The bike chain chopper?
I
Frank,
was only
are you out
repeating what
there?
you were saying with a question mark at the end because it doesn't sound like what a logical, coherent person.
No, because I didn't use any of those words. So you obviously understand it.
Okay. So Chopper, you ready to talk politics now? Because this is
It's not even that it falls without you. It's that it falls when iPhi is on the thing.
I know it's all iPhi stuff. I know. Let's all blame iPhi for society failing.
What's wrong with the conversation right now? That's what I don't understand.
There is no conversation, Denizen. I keep asking questions and you won't answer.
Well,
them, so
I keep trying to jump in with my.
Everybody has answered your question.
What question would you like me to answer?
Every single question that you've asked.
Does red and blue exist, Denizen? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so when they overlap and you call it purple, does that mean red and blue stops existing?
Pink.
No.
Colors are not the same as genetics, as nature, and
well, just answer his question. The answer is no.
Okay, so if nature and nurture overlap, why do they cease to exist once they start overlapping?
They don't overlap, and they don't cease to exist. That's just stupid shit that you said.
Steve and I have a conversation about nature versus nurture. We can contrast.
Go ahead. No one
said you can't have a conversation.
You did. You said they're all the same.
I absolutely did not say that someone could not have a conversation.
You literally said that about 5 minutes ago. Play the tape back, dude.
I would love it if Lib would come and talk about trans communism at this point.
I mean, here's a neurotypical person.
Please,
he's not even in this reality.
This is not even.
He doesn't have the slightest idea what I'm saying. But what's crazy is that if he calms down and lets go of the hyperbole, he can repeat what you say. So he gets it, right? He's deliberately holding two, different thoughts in his head at the same time, and then going with the one that is controversial, regardless of what he's actually. It's like a real-time display of how he's refusing the information he's getting willingly.
Thank you, Dr. Phil, for your opinion on the mind state of the pan.
I gotta say,
did you call her a bitch?
I don't know you that well, Denizen, but you're on point today. So
I gotta say, Denizen, when the trans communists agree with you, you're fucked. So you might want to get your head examined.
I'm a trans communist, by the way, everybody. Like I am a straight white cis male with 2 children.
I will respect anything you say, no matter what you say, Denizen. I will respect anything you say, no matter what you say, Denizen. I said I would respect Steve. I said I would respect Steve no matter what he said. I did not say
ChopperJeff.
So even if Steve said I'm a leprechaun and we live in a jar and you're a brain in a jar, you would respect that, Christina?
I would respect Steve. I may not respect or understand his opinion.
Thanks, Chrissy Poo. We appreciate your feedback. So, Chopper, do you want to talk politics or not, dude? Because this channel is exploding.
Jeff, it doesn't sound like you want to talk about anything.
Push the button on iPhi. It's time.
Hey, Chris, moderate this guy on your channel. This Christ brings a sword guy.
I'm not streaming right now.
Whose channel is he on?
He's on our channel. He's on this channel. I didn't hit the stream to our audience button this today.
You want to talk politics now, dude?
Yeah, please block him. And please kick iPhi. I'm tired.
Oh yeah, kick me, Jeff, because
I'm not gonna kick.
Got
optics, bro.
How is he different
we
from
are
Tommy
free
at
to
this
talk
point?
over him.
How is he different from Tommy at this point, Jeff?
If we can't do that, he deserves to stay. Like he is.
Well, why do we have to yell
Jeff,
and
talk?
Why can't you just get rid of him?
That's why you need to kick me,
That could
Jeff.
be interesting.
You need to kick me because
at the very least you could turn his volume down, but I don't understand why he's here just to make it harder for other people to talk.
But I'm fucking bored of it. So
goodbye. It's nice derailing and imploding the panel. Thanks, dude. So
okay,
Jeff,
it's up to Steve.
He even admits that's his intention.
You can stick around.
Hey, Chopper, do you want to talk politics now, or do you want to wait till Chris is done complaining?
Well, I'm curious about why Jeff leaves you here.
I told you were bad at.
Because Jeff has an open mind. He likes opposing views as well as the same.
You're not giving any opposing views. You're just interrupting people after they get 2 words in and then talking over them.
You're interrupting people and talking about crayons and saying
how. You're right.
And
all I've done is agree with everyone on
none of your responses have had any relevance to anything we're talking about either.
Let's do an experiment. Okay, let's see how that changes things. What is up, guys?
Yo.
Okay, this is
what's
your
up,
chance.
Jeff?
If the
You guys know
conversation
anything
doesn't
about
improve, he's coming
chainsaws?
back.
Dude,
I do not.
Chopper, I can tell you for an absolute fact, I know zero things about chainsaws. I've never even I've picked one up once, and I've never actually, but not when it was not when it was on. So I'm terrified of them, and I will.
We went to a haunted house in Florida when we were little, and they would chase you out with a chainsaw into the parking lot. But like a guy with like a Freddy mask would.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster, right
and
there.
you'd hear behind you, you'd hear him chasing you, and you hear vroom vroom, and you'd look.
They don't put chains on those. Those are just empty bars.
Yeah, it was cool as a kid.
They're just loud and obnoxious. I actually switched to these electric saws. I have it still, and I use it, when I need to. But
no, I have a power saw, I have a jigsaw, I have a couple of saw like small ones, but chainsaw I do not have. I've used those for making guitars and stuff. I used to make guitars, so.
Yeah, I got a lot of woods to cut, so I got 3 of these saws, and I've got a nice wood boss.
It's really wearing out his welcome.
But yeah, it's like I want to agree with iPhi on some things, but man, the dude's just a dick, dude. Stop being a dick, and maybe more people will talk to you.
Yeah, I don't know why he's doing. It's self-sabotage. He's getting some kind of payoff of sabotaging what would normally be a pro-social and empowering opportunity.
When he came on today, I was fully prepared to try to engage with him, try to talk to him. I wasn't even like, oh great, here comes iPhi. I was like, all right, let's talk, and then he comes on and he just starts talking about crayons and bullshit. I mean, it's just like he's
it's not his fault.
He's the father of a kid, and he's talking about sandy vaginas and what.
It's literally not his fault. He can't help himself.
He's not his fault. Anyway. How do you mean?
I don't want to say Dunning-Kruger because that would be like an inappropriate use of the term, but it's like, but I just don't want to be unnecessarily hurtful, and say, when you're a fucking idiot, you don't know how fucking stupid you are.
He's the scapegoat, so it's okay to hurt him. He's at the bottom of the hierarchy.
That's not true. That is not true.
That is the scapegoat dynamic. And
he comes on the panel. He yells at everybody else. He acts like everyone else is beneath him. He's not the whipping
but he thinks
boy
you
of
are.
the panel.
That's not an act. That's the thing. It's like he's both simultaneously.
We've seen him do other
by his own description, he's an average person. So his IQ is 85 to 100, and he's on a panel of what he calls neurodivergent people. Right. Acting like he's smarter than them and knows more things than they do.
So it was like dick measuring. He's threatened. He's intimidated.
At this point, I
mean, that's what happened.
I gotta say, your comments are bordering on sexual harassment at this point. I'm starting to feel uncomfortable.
Me?
Seriously. He's flirting really hard with me. And I don't understand why. I've made it very clear that I'm married and everything else, and he just keeps coming on to me, and I don't understand why he's doing it. It's
not talking about me, right?
He just
iPhi.
Oh, he's gone. He's gone.
No, he's in the
comment. He's in the comments. I want to emphasize.
Ignore him. Ignore him. You're just giving him more attention.
I know. I'm doing it on purpose in this case.
He doesn't know how to get positive attention.
I'd like the floor for 5 seconds.
Yes, take the floor. Actually, I will mute.
We have Steve here. It is an opportunity to have a type of conversation that we don't normally get to have. So we have that too as an option.
Yeah, you got to stop engaging with iPhi though, because he'll do the same thing from the chat.
Y'all are the ones engaging with him. I've stopped.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean you personally. I meant in general. When I said you, I meant plural.
Yeah,
that's all. I should have said we. That's what I should have said to be less. You know what I mean? The way I said it could have been less curt.
So what's on your
accusatory?
Mind? What topic?
I came up to say that it's one of the reasons why we're struggling with these things scientifically and as a society is because we insist upon this nature versus nurture mentality when really they are a holistic thing. A human being is a colony of organisms, part of the planet, and all of those things factor into your neurochemistry, and your genetics are mutable as well, I would argue too. So
yeah,
You know,
if you
Jeff,
have
I had something I was trying to bring up earlier, but I feel like I probably have undiagnosed mental issues that I've been considering like seeking treatment for, and I don't even know the first step as far as actually getting treatment. I went to the doctor for the first time in 10 years, or actually more than 10 years, last year for the first time, and it felt more like going to McDonald's than it was like getting actual help. So
are you repairing a chainsaw?
I'm not repairing. I'm just putting a new chain on after I sharpen it.
Do you know like a shit ton about chainsaws?
I do.
How did you learn about chainsaws?
Just jumped in and did it.
I would start with doing your own research, as someone who's not a medical professional. That's where I would start.
Part of that, because I know Jeff is a professional, so that's why I'm here.
Jeff, message me on Discord if you want later, and I can help you find what you're looking for.
All right. Well,
to kind of speak to what Denizen was saying is, I agree with them, because it to me it seems, at least everything I've read, and I don't read shit to memorize it. So I apologize if I'm not being as specific as I could be, but the problem is that we have a fairly high confidence that ADHD is somehow tied to genetics, but that our environment can play a larger role. So if you have a parent who is compassionate, who is loving, is emotionally available, has a good discipline structure in the home, you can mitigate a lot of the more quote unquote negative side effects of ADHD. So you can actually mitigate the effects of it. Conversely, if you have a parent who doesn't, then it's going to make it worse. So the discussing whether or not these two things are separate is almost a non sequitur, because we know for a fact that both of them play a role in it.
Right.
So it just depends on what the environment that the person is in, what kind of childhood and adolescence they have. Their connection to family can play a large role in that as well. So
that is why you need a person that is called person-centered or individualized approach, and that is why you need that instead of this technocratic or group-centered approach that they're trying. Like the trend is to switch to.
Because neither nature nor
said, it is holistic, and so if you look at each individual child and what's going on with that child, and we're in what proportions, that's where you have to start designing the solutions from.
Because neither nature nor nurture exists in a vacuum. There's no way to even separate them to that degree. There is no possible way, even in a scientific,
doesn't. If you're dealing with
chromatically
actual traits, it doesn't even matter where they came from. You can address.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree.
They came from each other, though. So that's another reason why they're, somewhat inseparable.
One can't exist. One can't exist without another. You can't have nature without nurture, or vice versa. It just doesn't work. Like your nature is your genetics, and then once you're born, you will be raised in one way or another. Even if it's by wolves, that will influence who you turn out to be as a person. So, like, there is no way to separate the two. I don't even understand what this argument is even about. I don't even understand what his point was trying to be.
Because some people, if it's nature, they make one kind of argument, and if it's possible to, like, if it's the social environment which can be controlled, they make a different type of argument.
And look at the state of the so-called scientific community right now, which that's
you're right. I mean, the nurture
phrase to use.
The nurture side is very
the blank slate, like the woke have the blank slate, even though they do have a very particular view of human nature, but they also have the blank slate.
They believe left is more focused on nurture, and right is more focused on nature, and both of them are basically wrong because they try to ignore the other one. It's just stupid.
And that's the point I was trying to make. And if we could stop doing that, I think we'll make steps forward.
Well, I don't know what argument he was trying to make, but I want to give him a little bit of charity. He had some really good questions to ask. But fundamentally, you could take the same question and apply it to homosexuality, right? This is something that people have tried to do for fucking ages. And the problem is this: if it's genetic, it's not their fault they're gay. If it's environment, they also don't have a choice in the environment that they grew up in.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's not their fucking choice. So no matter which way you go on this, it always leads to a non sequitur. Like there's no point in trying to figure that out. What you can do is start to learn, possibly.
And you know
I
what?
would argue we all choose in a way too.
And you know what? I also think that even if it is their choice, so what?
Right.
Let it be their choice.
Right.
They have the right to choose that. They have the right to choose that.
That was my argument.
And that straight people choose too. That's the other part of that equation.
It might be that we might be more naturally somehow to some degree inclined towards straightness because of the fact that we are genetically predisposed to reproduce, and until like the invention of adoption and things like that, it wasn't really possible for gay people to raise children, so therefore it was less genetically advantageous. But like I still think it's their right to choose that if they want to, and I have no issue with that. Like I mean I've always kind of like been a little weirded out by like the gay advocacy type people that were like so focused on it being like a genetic thing. I'm like why do you care so much whether or not you can justify it like that? Just like
part of it was
you like dudes, like
therapy.
just like dudes
because of conversion therapy.
Yeah, that's true.
And there was this belief that you could change us into being
it's the foundation of these moral and political philosophies, and that's why people make the argument of keeping them separate, because there are those the fact that something can be your nature and is immutable is the foundation. It's the premise for many of their beliefs. And that's why they take it so personally too when you question it, right? Because you're questioning their own identity and the foundation of their reality, not just some kind of concept.
Right.
No, yeah, I agree.
It takes a lot of effort to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It takes an insane amount of energy and effort and time and practice to get to that place. That's not something that people choose naturally. I mean, you have in-group, out-group bias for a reason. It's almost like an innate built-in part of our human nature to do that. And so,
for survival purposes, there's evolutionary reasons for that to exist. Like even though we have advanced as a species in a society, and it's necessary, but there are like on a primal, like if we're living in tribal societies, if we're living in like a caveman type situation like that, those in-group out-group biases do make sense. They just don't make sense today, which is why we need to we need to evolve and ascend, or whatever you want to call it. Move on.
Why don't they make sense today?
Well, you know what, Steve, that's a wonderful point, and I think that's what I was really trying to ask is how do you get comfortable enough to seek help? When you need it.
I don't know if you want to talk about it here or privately, but what kind of help?
It's not that personal.
For me personally, I called around and tried to find therapists who were male friendly. First and foremost. Second, I wanted to find someone who specialized in trauma. And then I tried to ascertain as to whether that person was, how would you put this? Are they a book therapist or are they a person therapist?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You looked for these specific things. Would it be correct to assume that's because you created a list of criteria and that list was based upon you initially educating yourself on various topics and realizing, so like trusting in your own knowledge of yourself and your own ability to inform yourself is still at the top of that hierarchy, even if you're eliciting professional help from someone else.
Know thyself is still one of the most important principles we can learn from philosophy. Yeah,
absolutely. And I did quite a bit of reading before I looked for the criteria, because I mean, you don't know what you don't know, so you have to kind of seek it out. And so my best bet was to seek out a therapist who was male, who hopefully had been through the military, someone who understands people as human beings and rather than people as opportunities. You know, and it took me a while, but finally I found one.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
You know?
Yeah,
And there's nothing wrong. There's also nothing wrong with trial and error as long as you recognize
Yeah.
that when you
A
go
lot
to
of them
somebody
will
that
give
isn't
a
right for
free-
you. Like, there's no reason to go back to a therapist. Like,
Right.
if you go to a therapist and they're clearly not, like, you don't have
It's like
there's
dating.
no
You have to
vibing.
find
Yeah,
the
it
one
is. It really is.
Right.
And you
click
have to
Yeah.
you have to be willing to make that decision. Be like, I'm not going back there. I'm not going back to that doctor because that doctor clearly was not for me. You know, like, and some people don't. Some people go to a doctor once and they're like, well, that's my doctor now. You know, and that they just feel like they're trapped with it. And that's like, you have to be willing to, like,
I fire my people all the time.
yeah, well, I have too, but a lot of people don't though.
Yeah,
a lot of people will keep going to the same doctor.
That's kind of how I am. Like, I never really thought, like, why is there a difference between doctors? But here's the funny thing: my old primary doctor, is actually serving the rest of his life in prison for over.
Oh my god!
For what?
For what? For what? What did he do?
For over prescribing.
Over prescribing
shit.
opioids. 3 of his
Oh.
patients.
Damn, life
Oh,
in
wow.
prison. That's some serious over.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that any
And
doctors
yet
went to
the-
prison for that. That's
Yeah.
I'm kind of actually
The pharmaceutical companies,
Our
kind of
system
happy
is
to hear
working.
that, but
0 in jail.
yeah, no, I agree. The pharmaceutical companies should be like taken. They should be put in jail. Like the Sacklers should be in jail.
Yeah,
Way
on
before the
that note,
doctors
I'll
would
do
be.
that.
But at the same time, I'm still happy to know that somebody did get some consequences for, you know, prescribing like fentanyl when they didn't need to or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody needs to be held accountable for it. I mean, and the doctors are part of that chain, regardless of whether or not they were like the main factor or not. They are part of that chain of command. I think everybody should be held accountable for it. Myself personally, but
Yeah. Yeah. So I hope my answers help you, Jeff.
Yeah, I appreciate it,
ChopperJeff.
man.
Yeah.
You know, I just, you know, sometimes I just don't know, and that's, I think, is the issue sometimes with me, and you know.
well, that's good though.
What-
We're not supposed to know everything, and it's good to not know and know that you don't know, and then ask questions and try to learn about it. That's like one of the most essential and best qualities you can have as a person. That is like that's knowing how to learn. That was like the most important thing you can teach someone is to learn how to learn. That's really is, like, because like that's something that they don't teach in school. They teach you facts, they teach you this and that. They don't teach you how to learn, how to actually how to absorb the information, how to take it and how to apply it and things like that. And that's what that's what we need. That's what people need to know how to do more than anything. And that's what's lacking, I think, in the school system and to a large degree. I'm not saying there's not good teachers that don't do that, but in a broad sense, like, I learned how to learn on my own as being a homeschooled kid with good parents, by the way, that did a good job in teaching me that as well. But I'm saying, but you know what I mean? Like, I think like I benefited greatly from that. Of course, I also was very ADHD. So, and I was from a very early age, once I got that diagnosis, like when I was like 19, like my mom, like it suddenly made sense to my mom. Like my mom had heard about ADHD, like, you know, whenever she was younger, but it wasn't a really widely known in the 80s. It wasn't like, it was kind of like talked about in like hushed kind of tones. Like it was kind of like this thing that, like, you know, oh, they're just going to put them on drugs and kind of thing. And like, it was kind of demonized, especially like my parents being very right wing, and especially right wing media demonized it a lot. But then once I actually was diagnosed with it later on in my life, my mom was like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense," you know.
Yeah, and you know, I grew up in a very right wing type family. I may have said before, I graduated from a Catholic high school and whatnot. So you know, it was never something that was considered an option for people who misbehave. It was more, you know, we gotta pray it away.
And you're suspicious that you have ADHD? Is that what you're saying?
I think I probably have some ADHD or bipolar or OCD type.
Everybody has some degree of something like that. There is no such thing as a truly neurotypical person that is right down the line that has that's just like perfectly quote unquote normal in the middle. That doesn't exist. I don't believe anyway.
What makes you
be
think
wrong.
that, Jeff?
No, but there are statistical norms, and there are people.
Yeah, there's statistical norms, but I'm just saying everybody's got something
with more ease than others.
Yeah, sure. No, that's true. Some people do really well in public school environments like that. Yeah, that's true.
What makes you say that, Jeff?
About why they feel like I have ADHD?
Or something, as you put it.
Well, I mean, I've got a lot of issues, like especially like in the last 5 or 6 years, just following through and finishing stuff. And that's
because you're lazy. Didn't you know that? So like I got told my whole life.
Well, what kind of stuff are we talking about?
Oh man. Well,
you don't have to talk about it if you're not comfortable talking about it, man.
It's not that I'm not comfortable. It's just that there's so much that comes to mind. It's like, well, I mean, look at my basement for one. It's just filled with like half-finished projects and things.
Dude, if you saw my house right now, you'd feel so much. I'm not going to show you, but if you saw my house right now, you would feel so much better about your life right now. Trust me.
And maybe I'm just being dramatic. I mean, I do.
It looks so organized and clean in there to me. I'm like, oh, that looks like heaven.
Really?
Like right now, I am on this microphone like remotely trying to like clean up as it is. Like I am like, and it's just like my life is a never-ending like pile of trash. It's
Jeff, were you did you struggle in school, or were you identified in school and given extra service?
No, I was kind of just left alone in school. I didn't really excel. I didn't really struggle as much either. Pure C student, pretty much.
Do you get disinterested in things that you have? Oh, well, let me rephrase that. Do you tend to shy away from topics that you're not interested in? So let's say that you just picked a random topic and you're like, I want to educate myself on this, and you lose interest in it very, very quickly.
Oh yeah, stuff I don't give a shit about. I don't give a shit.
So combined that with your difficulty following through with tasks, I would definitely talk to your therapist about ADHD.
Yeah.
What kind of tasks are we talking about, though?
I lack interest in that too. I don't want to talk about it that much. But
the crazy thing, though, Jeff, is that when I got on medication, I had no fucking idea normal felt like. Like I had no fucking idea. It was so weird because I actually talked to my wife about it. I'm like, is this what normal feels like? Like I can focus on tasks, I can stay awake, I can get shit done. I feel this weird clarity in my head that I've never had, because normally I'm like all over the fucking place. I'm reading, even right now, I read like 4 books at the same, not at the same time, but during the same period. It's like, it was unreal how better I felt knowing that I could just simply focus on something and get it done, even if I was uninterested.
Yeah, ultimately, I mean, I lack a lot of focus, man. I mean, even in wanting to play like video games, sometimes I get
Do you have sleep apnea
too? It's either like I focus on it, I hyper focus on it.
My girlfriend tells me that she thinks I stop breathing when I sleep.
Oh, bro, dude, go get that checked out. So there's a weird correlation between sleep apnea and ADHD too, by the way.
No kidding.
Yeah, shit.
And sleep apnea is really super dangerous, and it really a CPAP machine, as annoying as they seem, they're really not that bad to live with. I didn't need it anymore after I end up having to get like this stomach sleeving surgery because like I had some weird hormonal thing that was making me gain weight like crazy, even though I wasn't eating. I was literally starving myself, and I was gaining weight like by like tens of pounds. Like, and it made no sense. Like over the course of a year, I went from like 230 to 350, and I was barely eating, and it made no sense. And like they were like, they suggested the stomach sleeving thing because not because it makes your stomach smaller, because it actually resets your entire like biome. It resets your entire like stomach like biome and everything. It resets like the chemical, because all your serotonin and everything is produced in your stomach and like that. When they did that and the weight I lost, I no longer had sleep apnea. But before that, I had sleep apnea really bad, and the CPAP machine was a struggle to get used to for about, I'd say, 3 weeks or so. But once I get used to it, it's actually very calming and relaxing, especially if you do well with the white noise. or something like that, it can be very soothing actually, and it's really not bad at all. They make them really quiet nowadays. It never even bothered Lindsay. Like it was never like loud enough to like keep her awake or anything like that. So like I would really recommend doing that. And like if you have any kind of insurance, it'll usually cover it entirely. So
if you're not getting restful sleep at night, it will definitely affect your ability to focus and have energy. And
it's hugely dangerous. I mean, people die.
I had a friend that just died.
In phases. I mean, I'm definitely better some weeks than others, but you know, sometimes it's when I do struggle, it is a struggle, right?
Dude, you don't even know because you're asleep when it's happening. But like when I did the sleep study thing first thing, they put that little thing on you, and they do this like thing where like it just monitors while you sleep for like 2 nights or something like that. And then the doctor showed me that the gaps in time when I stopped breathing and for how long. And I was like, oh my God. I was just
it scares the fuck out of you.
Yeah, no, I was like, I wasn't breathing for like almost a minute, like several times a night. Like that is terrifying. Like you're just like a little bit longer than that and you just like die. You know, so like,
I just had a friend recently pass away in his sleep, and he was 43.
Oh my God,
I'm 47. You know, his husband was destroyed about it. But I'm on a medication. So let's just talk about drugs for a second.
Yeah, sure.
My experience of some of the medications have not been great. The first one I was on was Adderall, which put me in the hospital with a heart attack.
Oh, damn.
Not to mention the really fucking odd sexual side effects.
I never had.
Then I went to Strattera, and that did absolutely nothing except for I couldn't get hard on it. And that's like, no, I like my wife. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I got
I tried a couple other ones that just didn't seem to really just do anything. And then, by coincidence, my wife, who has a mild form of narcolepsy, she got on this medication called Sunosi. Now, Sunosi is actually a medication that helps treat obstructive sleep apnea and treats narcolepsy. So not only am I sleeping better, I'm also more awake. I'm like, I sit at a computer a majority of the day, or at least part of the day, in a closed room with no windows and fluorescent lighting. Now, normally that would have knocked me out all day long. I would have been tired. I would have been exhausted. But this medication, I can stay focused all day long. It doesn't make me feel high. I just feel awake, alert, and I'm able to focus because of it. So not only am I sleeping better, but I'm performing better at work. That drug is fucking amazing. And it has no side effects, really. None. I have not had one single iota of a side effect.
What's the name of that?
Sunosi, Sunosi.
I've never even heard of that one before. That's interesting. I mean, Adderall works really well for me, so I don't really have a reason to change from it. But like, still, it does have side effects and stuff. I mean, but not. I didn't have any sexual ones, but like, I definitely have side effects from it. Like, I mean, it just depends. It's mostly because I forget to take it mostly, though.
Yeah. Oh, Ritalin was weird too, because Ritalin for me, Ritalin was
nothing good to me. Nothing good at all.
It didn't do anything good for me. It just made me tired all fucking day, and it's just like, this is a problem. You know, and so you have to be a little bit patient with trying new medications, because everybody's going to be different. Your brain chemistry is going to be different than mine.
Yeah.
But you can try a medication. You have to stay on it for a period of time so that you know that it's working or that it's not working. Usually it's between 5 to 6 weeks for your body to level out the levels in your blood, whatnot. But after that, if it's still not working, switch. It's okay to go through as many medications as you need until you find one. I had lost hope. I stopped taking all medications for about 6 months until my wife got on Sunosi, and I just happened to try it because I did some research on it, because I always do that for my wife's medications. I want to make sure of any side effects I need to be aware of when I'm watching her or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And I tried one, and I was like, the next day I was like, that morning I took one. I was like, holy shit, this is life altering. So it happened that I found my medication by coincidence.
Yeah.
So it's probably arguably my ADHD is not severe enough that I would need something more than what Sunosi offers me. But some people with it, you need a higher dose. Some people are a lower dose. You just gotta be patient with yourself. Be patient with the process. Don't lose hope until you are absolutely out of fucking options. And even then, still hold on a little bit, because you never know what's going to be coming out in the next 6 months in your life.
I will make one caveat to that, though. If you take a drug and it has some like serious and bizarre side effect, I definitely don't keep taking a drug for 6 weeks. It doesn't, like I took a migraine medication once. I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember what it's called now. And after I took it, like the third day I took it, my entire face went numb, and I thought I had a stroke. But I couldn't. My face was so numb I couldn't talk. I couldn't move my mouth. Like my entire face was just dead. And I was I was, and my wife was at work. She was working at Amazon, and I was working from home. And like I was like, I can't even call 911. Like I'm having a stroke obviously right now. And then I just laid down, and it went away, and it came back, and I was like that was the only new drug I'd been taking. So, and then and what was the other one? Dexa, what was it? Depakote makes me go cross-eyed.
Jesus, that shit.
Depakote makes me go cross-eyed, so that one I could not do because I literally can't see with it. And then Paxil makes me lose the will to live, so I don't take that one. I didn't take that one for more than a few days either. But like I'm just saying, if you have a side effect like that, don't. This is not a medical show. We're not giving medical advice. I'm just saying, like my advice is like, yes, if the drug, if you're taking it and it doesn't seem like it does anything at first, I definitely would recommend, like, giving it a chance to see if it gets into your system. And
you should be working with a specialist anyway. And
you should listen to your doctor. You should listen to your doctor. The doctor is normally going to tell you, oh, it'll take a few weeks or something like that. But if you have a serious side effect, don't fuck with that shit.
Yeah. Well, to address someone's comment, don't self-diagnose. Absolutely, we're not self-diagnosing. We're not diagnosing anyone. What we're doing is we're comparing experiences and saying, hey, you might want to get this checked out, because the problem is drugs are not inherently bad. They can do amazingly great things, and like Steve's words, they're full of shit. You guys have such an animated comment section. I love it. But seriously though, it's no one's diagnosing here. No one's self-diagnosing. That's the responsibility of a trained professional.
Every one of those,
we're not advocating for self-diagnosis. Nothing.
And I called my doctor right away and told them whenever those things happen, I told them, like, hey, this just made me go cross-eyed or made my face go dumb. And they were like, yeah, don't take that again. And so, like, I mean, it wasn't just like, I'm just saying, like, I just didn't want anyone to get the impression that like, no matter what, give it 6 weeks, I'm just saying. I just didn't want anyone to take that away from it. It was more like just trying to be extra careful, just because I know how people can hear things sometimes. And they're like, oh, well, maybe that's what I'll do. I just don't want that to. And I don't think you're not spreading misinformation, Steve. That's just like in my head. That's just what I was thinking. I was like,
it's a valid point. It's a very valid point. And there's times where helping someone figure out what's going on with them, to the point where you can now say, hey, you should probably go see someone about this. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, at all.
Right?
Not
There's what was it? It was for example, my wife had a procedure done that was causing endometriosis, and we didn't know why. We had no idea that it would be linked later to the IUD that she had received. I figured it out, and I didn't even figure it out. I can't say that, but I'm going to say it just for the ease of this conversation. I figured it out by watching a video on a men's right advocacy page, Chloe Roma, and she was addressing this bullshit ideology that male doctors are inherently harmful. And down in the comments, for some reason, I was reading the comments, which I normally don't do. There was this woman who said it was a male doctor who saved my life, because he figured out that it was the IUD causing the endometriosis. And then I went onto the website for endometriosis, and I looked at I looked at the symptoms. My wife had 15 out of 16 of the diagnosable symptoms. At that point, I turned to my wife and I said, "You're going to make an appointment with your doctor like tomorrow." So there's times where we can say, okay, well, this is really, really close to my experience. I should probably go see a professional about this. That is holistically different than self-diagnosing.
Exactly. Yeah. That's like self-diagnosis is like, okay, so like I've read on the internet that this drug is going to help me, so I'm going to go find some like, I'm going to find some off-brand version of it or something that's like similar to it. I'm going to order some research chemicals online,
right?
and start taking like random like chemicals made in a lab in China, and then and be like, well, it didn't work for me, like that's the opposite of what we're talking about. We're talking about like, you do need to be aware of your own biology and to a degree take responsibility for that, in the sense that you need to see a doctor, especially a good one if you have one, a doctor that's actually knowledgeable and actually understands you and actually that you have a history and a rapport with. It's very important, the one that understands like what you've been through. If you haven't established one like that, try to just do your best to find a doctor that you vibe with and take responsibility for your health, in that sense that you need to talk to somebody who actually can help, because you yourself are not going to, and doctors aren't perfect. Doctors don't know everything. They don't know every person. They don't know. That's why you have to kind of shop around from like Jeff said, it's like dating, you really have to like,
it should be collaborative and use self-advocacy, and like Colt says, they should rely on your feedback. Get them to rely on your feedback if they're not already. But a good doctor should be taking it into account.
Yeah, no, I mean, the good doctors I've worked with have always relied on my feedback, and a lot of them will even help. I've had so many good doctors that have not just helped me with finding the right diagnosis and stuff, but they've actually helped me get the medication I needed when I didn't have insurance and stuff like that. There are so many doctors out there that will go out of their way to find you, like, like I used to, back when I got diagnosed, they put me on a drug called Effexor for depression a long time ago, and it worked for me for a long time. It just eventually stopped, but at the time, like, it was very expensive. It was the extended release stuff, and my doctor went out of his way to because he knew I couldn't afford it. I could barely afford the appointment, so he actually went out of his way to I would go up to the doctor's office like once every month, and they would give me a bag full of samples, and that's how I kept I kept myself on medication until I was able to actually get a job again. I was able to afford it and stuff like that. So I mean, there's good doctors out there if you look for them. Not all doctors are evil. They're not all puppets and tools of the pharmaceutical industry. Effexor itself is it's not even like a new drug or anything they were pushing. It's Venlafaxine, and it's been around since the 60s or 50s or something like that. So it's nothing all that like revolutionary or anything. So it's not like I wasn't getting fed drugs by the pharmaceutical establishment that's out to kill us all kind of man, And yeah, don't get me wrong, pharmaceutical companies can be pretty fucking evil, but they're not all, but the drugs that they make themselves aren't inherently evil themselves. They're just tools that can be used for good or bad. Okay, I'll shut up now. I didn't mean to stop the conversation.
No, you made a good point, dude.
Well, it might be winding down.
Yeah, but I've actually got to head out. I gotta get some shit done today.
Okay. Well,
once Steve leaves, that's the end of the show. So.
Oh man, you're gonna have everybody in the comments hating my guts.
You're the star. You're the star of the show now, don't you know? Like, once you're gone, it's over, man. It's just like we got nothing else,
No, but it seems to be reaching completion energy.
No, yeah, I agree. I'm just joking around. I'm just having fun. I'm just like I enjoy the conversation. I enjoy the spirited kind of debates and like back and forth we have like on these kind of subjects, because I feel like they're actually productive.
Absolutely.
where like we can like have like we can point out disagreements or like caveats in other people's things, and it's like yes, and it's like I feel like we do that like whenever the show is working on its best thing, it's very much like good improv, like the yes and thing, instead of everything being like no but, like we're very good at like yes anding each of those points, and like that's a really healthy, I think it's a really healthy thing for discourse in general.
Absolutely, I agree. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
Take care, Steve.
Yeah, thank you for the advice.
Not a problem, man.
I'm gonna take off too, fellas.
Hey, Denizen,
Thanks for having me up,
I really enjoyed you having really enjoyed your points earlier. I think you really added something to the conversation. Amen. Thank you for coming by.
Same. It's mutual. And nice to meet you, Jeff. The other Jeff, ChopperJeff.
Chopper, the Chopper.
Guys, take it easy.
Peace.
You heading out too, Chopper?
No, I'm just sharpening this last chain. I mean, you guys like Jeff's wanting to wrap up. You mentioned something earlier.
You sharpened the chain and not the. I thought the saw part was different than the chain part. The chain just ran the saw. So I misunderstand chainsaws that deeply. That's how badly I misunderstand chainsaws. I didn't know you sharpened the chain.
This is the chain, and this goes on the saw. Like when you go to those Halloween attractions and that, what they do is they take just the saw part.
I love that bunker.
I've always wanted a basement, but they don't have basements in the South, so.
Oh, this is a bunker, but they take the chain. They take this chain off of this and just run it with the bar on, and then and scare you and stuff. So,
right. I mean, you could still just kill somebody with it probably, but it wouldn't just cut their head off though.
No, you just annoy them because it doesn't have a blade or chain.
Well, I'm just saying, but anything moving that fast though,
it's not moving.
But the friction itself, if it went against your skin, you're saying they wouldn't hurt?
No, there's nothing. The only thing that moves is the chain, and the sprocket that moves the chain is inside here. So there's a sprocket that turns that's connected to the motor, and then that's covered up. So I mean, that's not. I'm
telling you right. All I'm doing is showing off my chainsaw ignorance. That is all I'm doing right now. My ignorance of chainsaws is deep and as deep as a vast ocean. I really don't. I've always been terrified of them.
Well, I mean, if you live in the city, there's really no logical reason.
I grew up in the country in the South. Like I should know how to use a chainsaw. The same reason.
We didn't have chainsaws. Like they certainly didn't let the kids. No one taught us.
Like my grandpa taught me how to use a pistol and a shotgun and a rifle and stuff like that. But he never taught me how to use a chainsaw. So
my dad didn't actually want me to live the rural lifestyle. He raised me to be more of a city person, but I kind of rejected that. So.
Oh yeah, I definitely understand that.
Yeah,
that's the role of any teenager though. Whatever you raise, that's the reason why I've raised my kid to be. I've raised my kid to try to be as normal as possible because I knew she'd rebel and turn out weird, and it's worked out so well. It really has.
Well, my dad was pissed off at me when I bought this property because the house that's on it's like 200 plus years old and needed a lot of repair and stuff. And you're wasting your money, boy. But I made a lot of money when I was young. 2006, I guess I was pretty young. And I bought this place for it was like 30. Well, with everything combined, it was about 50,000. And
that's still not bad. Yeah.
Well, yeah, bro. It's 24.75 acres.
Shit, dude. I bet it's worth quite a bit more than that now. I bet you could sell that and retire off that if you ever needed to. Like even out there, I bet the land value has gone so crazy lately.
I had somebody offer me $500,000, and I told him to come back with $2 million, and we'll talk.
Yeah, no, I bet you could get $2 million for that much property, for that much land.
Yeah. Probably have to wait a while. It's a developer, but I really don't want to sell it. But for
I don't blame you.
I will.
Yeah, everything's got a price. I don't believe that every person has a price, but I think everything has a price. Everything that doesn't have intrinsic human value has a price on it at some point, because it's like if I can improve my life with the amount of money that they're offering for this thing that I might like, if it's a thing I like, then that's fine. If it's something that really means something to me, that's different. But Well, I got my dogs.
girlfriend's talking about. Well, she wanted to move in as soon as we started dating, but that was only like maybe 2-3 weeks ago. So I don't know. I told her to
How
call
long
me.
y'all been dating?
For 3 weeks now?
Roughly. I mean, I've known her for 2 years, but
Oh well, that's different though. If you've known
you've
somebody,
only been dating for 3 weeks. So how well do you know her? Like, where do you know her from?
oh, it's a coworker.
But I mean, like, have you guys hung out before dating?
Yeah.
I mean, how much did you know about her, like in general? I mean, did you know, like, you knew about her family, you knew about like her interests, her likes, things like that? I mean, how much did you know about her?
I met her dad about, was it a week or 2 weeks ago? I don't know. My brain's been a little fucked up because of the sickness, but I helped her move out of her now ex-boyfriend's house. So
yeah, okay, that is a little, you gotta give that a little time. I mean, but
and
she does need a little
younger than me. So I mean,
she needs a little. She needs a place to stay, though. I mean, it's hard to say no to somebody that you care about like that. You know.
I get it.
Put her in the bunker.
Yeah, you can put her in the bunker. I mean, like, hey, a woman can't leave you if you chain to the radiator. So.
Well, I don't want to talk shit too much because you never know. She could see the stream one day, but I mean, she did.
I'm not talking shit. I really
cheated on her boyfriend with me to start with. So I mean,
what happened?
She cheated on her boyfriend with me to start the whole relationship. So
I have a friend that's how he met his wife, and they're still married and they have a family and everything.
I know it's a rough start, but it depends on how well you guys like really mesh and get along.
And that's where I'm like, well, if we still like each other so much, it won't really matter if you live with your dad still for whatever, and you're still welcome. She's welcome to come out here whenever she wants. So.
Oh, she has the option of living with her dad?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So she has somewhere to go.
I encouraged her to go live with her dad because she's 25. I'm 42. So there's a big age.
Okay. Yeah, that you're doing the right thing then, I think. I was gonna say, like, if you have a big house though, I mean, you could give her a separate room or something. It'd be more like having like a housemate than like that. Yeah, no, seriously. Seriously. Like, I mean, like, it's not that weird. I mean, like me and my wife have had separate beds.
Age difference is weird, and the stage of the relationship is weird.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, but she has a place to go, so it's not a big deal. I was gonna say, if she had nowhere else to go, you have a big house, like, I don't think that it would be that big of a deal. Like, you'd be like, yeah, move in, we'll test it out. You can have your
own, but you've already gotten screwed from doing that.
Yeah. But
like, it's your instinct to do that, but it's also not always the wisest thing to do.
I'm not saying it's the wisest thing to do. I'm just saying that it can work. It's not impossible.
It sounded like you were trying to rationalize letting her stay there.
I wasn't
if
trying
she didn't have another place, is what you said. So that's what
if she didn't have another place, I'm saying I don't think that it could be the worst thing if you guys had separate.
Separate and when we argued about this at one point because she was acting like she had no place to go, and I was like,
"Ooh, that would be a red flag."
Okay, that's a little it's a red flag.
But
that's manipulative.
Well, then that must really suck then to not be able to call your dad or whatever, because she had told me about her dad wanting her to move back in with him because he didn't like her boyfriend.
She didn't want to go back,
and well, she is. She's there right now. So
okay.
Her dad's a cool dude. It's funny because like her dad is also like, I don't know, 20 years older than her mom. So she tells me all this. I like older dudes because my dad's older and stuff. Like,
yeah.
It's weird. It's weird.
But people can't help things like that. You like sometimes people like people based on arbitrary like things like that, and it's just like. It's just nature versus nurture, or whatever, It's just like the way you're raised and all that kind of stuff like that. It's gonna affect who you're attracted to. I mean, like it's not their fault.
Like I'm talking about the worst characteristics of the situation at the moment.
Oh, okay.
And I like her a lot, and certainly I want to be happy. And I want her to be happy. So.
Well, you know what you do. This is how we can resolve this. You just got to bring her on the stream. I'm kidding, Joe.
Never.
I'm kidding, Chopper. I am kidding.
Never.
It's
just like my private therapy session here. So.
I know. I joke with it every time you talk about relationships. Like, all you gotta do, bring him on the stream. Bring them on the stream and let them meet us, and let us meet them, and then we'll tell you whether or not they're good for
Or
you.
bring her on the Discord. Like,
I could just
bring her to
picture-
movie night one night.
Nah, Just Frank is too jealous already. He's been messaging me wanting me to play Ghost Recon with him. Like,
Oh, there's another
Oh.
woman in the picture.
Ooh, Ghost Recon. You know when
Maybe,
you
like,
put
if
it,
we're
when you put it
together-
like
Well,
that,
Frank and I have
put it
a
like that,
date
Ghost
anyway.
Recon
We're
sounds
supposed to
real
be
sexual.
watching Survivor.
I mean, if we're together for like years, yeah, I'll bring her up. But
No, I'm joking, man.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
we
we're
gotta
at
get
the
to that
market.
stage first.
No, man, I understand. I understand that entirely. I was joking. I would not recommend doing that. I would not recommend doing that. Well, you don't need our opinion on your relationship. Trust me. But like,
I don't need it. I appreciate it though, because
I mean, like, well, I mean, we're happy to talk
only have
relationship.
one
We're happy to talk
perspective.
relationship advice.
I
It's like,
have plenty of experience with making stupid relationship decisions,
Yeah,
so I'm
me
trying
too.
to like help you benefit from that.
I was saying you don't need our opinion on your girlfriend, is what I mean. I don't mean you don't need to bring her on here for us to judge her. That was my point. You don't need that. That's not.
But we
something
would like that if you did want to.
Yeah, we would like it though. We would love that. So
We love to judge people. All right, dude.
Well, we were talking about getting matching tattoos next weekend, so we'll see.
well,
Oh,
I tell you what.
Lord.
When I get
What
when I
tattoo would you
okay,
get?
that is a
I
big
don't
step.
know.
That's
I
bigger
don't
than
know.
marriage, dude. I'm sorry. Matching
And
tattoos
is it
bigger
her
than
driving
marriage.
this or you?
It's her.
Yeah. Okay. I think. I mean, I seriously. I'd get married before I get matching tattoos.
She
A
has
marriage,
a lot of power.
a marriage you could end with like with a couple of phone calls and a lawyer. A tattoo, you have to go through like extensive like removal process and like all it's like painful and shit. Like I don't know, man. I think that's more permanent.
I mean, a tattoo still feels less painful than marriage to me.
Yeah, marriage. I mean, these days, like no fault divorce and shit like that, man. It's not even like a big deal. Like I take marriage seriously, but most people don't. So I take my marriage very seriously, but most people think of marriage as it's like something you do on the weekend and it doesn't work out, then you just like annul it on Monday, you know? Like I don't think that it should be like that. That's the way people treat it. So I mean, I don't know, but a tattoo, man, that's forever. Like you just like chances are you're not like
you always just get it covered up with another tattoo. So
can you though? It'll always be there, no matter what you do. No matter what you do, and even if you do the removal process, it's always gonna be there, though. You know. I'm just joking around. I'm just playing around. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to have just having a little fun with you. I'm not. I really do. I really do appreciate you bringing like the.
You know, Auntie Darius just made a comment in the chat, and that's exactly what I told her at one point. And I told her like, you know, if you're always just looking for somebody better, you're always going to be searching. Good luck, because I kind of shunned the whole relationship idea with her after I found out she didn't actually break up with her boyfriend when we got Christmas.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
And
how about getting matching piercings instead of a tattoo? I think piercings would be better. You know, get matching nipple piercings or something, because like you can just take those out.
A piercing? I don't know, man. What about it?
I'm just saying. I think a piercing is less permanent than a tattoo. Like both of them involve needles. One of them is just like a one quick stab, whereas a tattoo is like a long process of getting stabbed, you know, a million times. A little thing with ink and stuff like that. And they do like they wear. I mean, I've wanted to get a tattoo so many times, and I just never found anything I really want tattooed.
I don't have any tattoos, and she says that I would be good with tattoos. So I don't know. I mean. I just I kind of, you know, I don't have any tattoos. I don't.
Have you ever met? Have you met like an old man that had tattoos? That has tattoos? Have you seen like we're an old woman that has the tattoos and like what it looks like when you get to a certain age though?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't age well. It's not a good way to age. I tell you that much. My uncle, my old now deceased drunk uncle, he had like military tattoos and stuff, and it just made his skin. It made it look like he had gangrene all over his arms. You know, like old tattoo ink, the way it wears out and stuff like that. It was kind of nasty. Yeah, at least get it somewhere where it's not fully visible. You know, like get it like one of the funniest tattoos I ever saw was this dude. He didn't even like. He wasn't even like. He didn't wear like. I'm wearing like this penguin shirt right here. You know, it's got the little penguin thing on the collar right there, right? This dude got that tattooed right there on his chest, like it was on the lapel. And like he didn't even know what it meant. He just saw it somewhere and he thought he would get it tattooed. And I was like, that's like fucking cool. But like the dude was a moron. He was a complete moron. But it's also a really painful place to get a tattoo. So like I would probably once again, I don't have any tattoos, but I've known a lot. I have been good friends with many tattoo artists that have offered to tattoo many times. And I've always been like, yeah, but I don't really have anything I really want permanently affixed to my body. Like, you know, it's like
Jeff's got a bunch of tattoos.
It's like a temporary tattoo or like a henna tattoo or something. At least that washes off eventually. You know, like how about this? You know, they make these tattoo markers now. And these tattoo markers that like the marker ink lasts for like 2 weeks. So what you do is you get try it out for like 2 weeks. You try it out, and if you really like it that much after 2 weeks, then go get it permanently done. You know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I would say, I mean, that's what I would do. I think that's like a good compromise. Like I want to see if I really like having a tattoo on. I want to see if I like having like this ink permanently attached to my skin. And you can get them in like, it's like $20-$30 in like Walmart or something like that. You just get like a set. They're like really fine tip, like Sharpie markers that are made specifically for like skin. And you just gotta find an artist that actually knows how to do it. And then get them to like kind of draw it on there as like a thing and just see how it feels, see how you feel like with the tattoo. Like a full sleeves, God, that's like full sleeves are insane, man. That's like you know how much time you have to spend like in a tattoo parlor to get full sleeves done. Like you're talking about you're talking about like weeks of your life. Like, it's not like you pop into the shop on an afternoon like I got a tattoo today. It's like you're basically, it's like a part-time job. You're spending like 30 hours a week at the tattoo parlor getting that shit done. I knew a guy that was doing that stuff all the time. Like it was like I didn't even when he got into tattoos, I didn't even know him anymore because like he just, every time I wanted to talk to him, I call him, he'd be like, yeah, I'm at the tattoo shop, and I would just be like, oh, okay, well, later then, I guess. And like, he'd be there all day. If he wasn't at work, he was getting tattoos on his arms, and I just like it was weird.
Jack's Law, I don't know what you're talking about calling him out.
Oh, Auntie, my word.
Oh, I'm afraid. You think I'm afraid? Yeah, I am afraid. I don't like needles. Jack's Law. You're right. I don't like needles, and but it really my problem with tattoos isn't about the needles anymore. I got over my fear of needles. I just don't have anything I really want on my skin permanently. I just I'm 42 now, and I'm old enough. Like if I was younger and I was still impetuous enough to like just get something stupid tattooed on myself, it'd probably be one thing. But I'm at the point where if I'm gonna tattoo, it's got to mean something really meaning. It's got to be something that's honestly like something like I want to be buried with this on my skin. You know, I want this to mean something in some sort of grander sense, and like I don't have anything like that. So.
See, I wanted to get like my blood type and like emergency contact info tattooed, like an expiration date or a Best Buy date or something like that.
Use by.
If I knew how to tattoo myself, that'd be really dangerous because I'd be like
a to-do list I can fill in on my arm.
Yeah, like I'm really tempted to do like a parody of. You've seen Memento?
Yes.
You see Memento?
Killed my wife or whatever.
It'd be hilarious. I would think in like a drunken state or something like that. If I knew how to tattoo myself, I would probably do something like I'd like do some parody of the Memento tattoos. You know, all over my chest and stuff. Like I don't know what they would be. Just like absurd shit, just absurd, stupid things. You know, like Master Shake killed my wife or something like that. You know.
Oh man, well, it was a fun stream today, guys. I think I'm tapping out here and doing something.
Yeah,
else.
we're
you too.
It's all wound.
Yeah, if you guys, I took off work tonight, so I mean, if you guys wanted to watch Raised by Wolves on the Discord, I could.
Oh,
I do have that downloaded.
Oh, you do? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys want to play it, I'll join in there with you.
Well, how long is an episode?
I think it's standard, like 45 minutes ish. The first episode might be a little longer.
I mean, I have to go out for a little while, but I will leave my Discord server running, and I think Jeff has access to it, so you can.
They're
you can
always
get,
running. You mean your Plex thing?
My
No,
Plex,
you were
yeah.
supposed to take us off because they
Okay.
were.
Yeah, I didn't. But I didn't do that
Oh.
though. So you still have access to it. So if you want to go,
Why
go in
won't
there
you
and watch
leave
Race
your
by Wolves, you
server?
can. Because I
Why
only
won't you
have
leave
like 4 people have access to it. I'm not worried about it.
Okay. Well,
But don't they monitor the content that you stream out of that?
No.
Huh. I'll have to look into
don't worry
that.
about it.
Now,
Yeah, and if anybody wants to
Look,
join
the
us,
people that
contact
have
us
gotten
for
in
an
trouble.
invite to the Discord. We're gonna go watch.
Yeah,
Stuff.
I looked into that though. Like whenever somebody made that comment in the Discord thing, I looked into it though, and the people that have gotten in trouble for it are people that were like either selling access or giving it out to hundreds of people. Like tons of they were running like these like giant Plex like Blade server things and everything that had like they were basically running like a little mini Netflix and like maybe charging people
your
like
server,
$5.
whatever you feel comfortable doing. This.
Yeah, I don't have anything. I don't have anything like that running on it. So.
Well, just message us later when you get back, and we can do.
Yeah, sure. It's fine either way. I'm just gonna run up. I got to run up to this place to try to sell off some more of these jeans. I've got tubs and tubs of jeans I'm trying to get rid of. Like, bye.
See you.
All right.
Talk to you tonight.
All right.
Take care, Jeff. Thanks. Alrighty. Either come hang out with us on Discord or catch us tomorrow at the same time. Bye. Oh, wait. Sorry. That was me.